my friends, and welcome to episode 132 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Vari.
And I'm Claudio Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Well, here we are. It's the day after, figuratively. The final chord of Rock and Roll All Night has been played. The final flash pod has gone off. The confetti has fallen. And the lights have come on to We Love You, New York, shining brightly on the screen as thousands of fans ponder what they have just seen. Kiss avatars? Is this the future of Kiss? Who knows? But what I do know, what I hope, is that the Kiss Army will continue to keep the memory of Kiss alive. I hope that we will continue their legacy, that we will shape this day and every day after that.
You know, on the last episode, we were joined by the Canadian Kiss Army. Tonight, we are so proud to have our American friends on the panel to share our experiences of the Kiss takeover of New York City. So from the Kiss room, we have our dear friend, Matt Porter. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
Fantastic. Having a great time.
Greatest time ever.
The best time ever.
Best time ever. From the Rock Experience, we are joined by another great friend, Mike Brunn. How you doing, Mikey?
All right, doing great. Thank you for inviting me today.
We have the man himself, Tony Mann. How you doing, Tom?
Hey, guys. Thanks for asking me to be here. Nice
Absolutely.
to see you. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much. And finally, we have the manager of the Fox Theater Salinas in California, Angel Kowatsch. How you doing, Angel?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm honored to be here as well. Nice to see you guys.
So, guys, thanks again for taking the time to come on the show. There's 6 of us here. We have a lot to talk about, so hope you guys got some sleep after this weekend, because I have a feeling this is going to be a long night. So, you know, usually we start off with like a warm-up question to get us started, but we've got so much going on that we're just going to get into it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I want to know, you know, it's the day after or several days after. And, you know, the craziness of the final shows, the craziness of New York and the whole New York experiences is actually behind us. So what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about this? We'll start with Matt.
You know, it's funny because at the end of like every show, and Paul Stanley says, "Have you had a good time?" Man, I had a great time. And it's funny because in so many ways, and, you know, when we were talking a little bit before you hit record, you know, it's a catharsis on the fact of what does the end of the road mean is the fact that, you know, and I won't go too deep inside, but, you know, in your regular life, you deal with all kind of things that are real and that affect you and can be really sad and depressing. Got to New York, left it all behind at home, had the heck of a time. And I think that's really, in so many ways, that's what it's always meant to me, has been an escape from the problems of your life. You know, you want to go escape. And now more than ever, the fact is that we can all be connected online. So you're seeing people in real life that you might only see on Instagram or Facebook. And there they are in real life. And look, anybody that saw me this weekend, I'm a hugger. So it's like, you know, I want to hug everybody. I want to see everybody. I want to talk to everybody, you know, and that's really, I think what it means is that you get to just see people in real life, or you might not get to go see. And look, I'll say it. I enjoyed the hell out of the shows. I thought they were fantastic. So I really did get what I came for. I mean, you know, there's you know, you go in with certain expectations. What if they'll do this and what if they'll do that? And, you know, I wonder about this and I wonder about that, but I can't complain. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just a fantastic weekend. There was so much going on. You know, and I'm probably going to get into more of the specifics later, but it really did feel like Planet Kiss, because everywhere you walked, there was somebody wearing a Kiss shirt or a jacket or a hat, and you fist bump or you, hey, like if you recognize them or whatever. But everywhere that you went, it really felt like we were in Kiss New York. And so I appreciate everything that they did to try and bring as much experiential stuff along with the concert, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, and I won't hog too much more time other than to say, man, I loved it.
Nice. Mike, how about you?
you know, before we were recording, you said we needed to recover a little bit. And I'm just thinking how I felt like on Sunday, I was mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. You know, it was just such an incredible 3 days, you know, in a row for me in this city. I wake up today and yesterday, and I'm finding it hard to believe that, and I'm trying to face reality that, hey, there's not another concert to look forward to. There's not another tour. There's probably not another studio album. There's not another cruise. What's next for KISS in the human world? We don't really know, right? We know what's coming up in the non-human world, right? But in the human world with physical product, like, is this the end? So it's just been like a whirlwind of emotions for me, like every day, kind of like hour by hour, going up and down. Like, you know, like Matt just said, I had a great time for 3 days, and I'll talk some of the details of some of the stuff I did as well. But for the last 48 hours, it's been like, whoa, you know, what a crazy feeling it is to not know in the KISS world what's coming up tomorrow. There might not really be much of anything. So that's kind of sad to me.
Okay, Tony, how about you?
Okay. I want to say hello to everyone. I haven't met Mike and Angel before, but Matt's a close friend, and you two guys and Pasquale have met you before. But Claudio, this is the first time we met. The show brought us together.
Exactly.
Ran into each other on the street. And I'd like to say it was an amazing week, a whirlwind week. Made me proud to be a New Yorker, proud to be a KISS fan for 50 years. I've been seeing the band for 50 years. So there's a lot of emotions, no matter what's going to happen next. But I've never gone to a KISS show and not have fun and not have a good time. So I just try and stay positive. Look, you're going to have fun, aren't you? I know there's a lot of complainers and whatever. There's always something to complain about in life. KISS is supposed to be an escape from all that and get out of your head and just, but what I felt so proud of, that people from all around the world were here all week, running all over. And I was so glad to run into Pasquale and Claudio and be able to show them a few KISS sites. And recently I've been, oddly enough, at the end of the band, or whatever you want to call it, I've been writing a lot about KISS, and I've been asked to write about KISS and share knowledge and experience. And Matt is always a good forum for that. You guys are always a good forum for that. And there's a lot of interest in the whole history of the band. And this is the time we have to get the history down, when we remember it, because sadly I got a lot of friends that have got dementia or passed away. I've lost a friend today. Okay, Denny Lane from Wings was a friend of mine and a friend of his family. So anyway, it was such a proud moment to be a KISS fan and to be able to show you guys, like, this is my city. This is where this happened, and that you appreciate it. That makes it feel even more special to share it with people that appreciate it and enjoy it. And I just take away from it the good feelings. The people I've met because of the band has been more than hundreds. I mean, thousands of people I've met because of KISS. And some of the things I do in my career now is because of KISS. And I met Ronnie Lundell when he was here for the Bliss Street musical months ago. And then I end up, hang out with Paul Sub and everything, who owned the Coventry, and then writing articles for the Swedish magazine Destroyer. So I'm writing a bunch of articles for them. And I've written Lost Rockers and other books, and always have some KISS content almost in every book, because it's always dealing with New York. So I just feel like so proud to see the Empire State Building lit up, the Metro cards, the newspaper, everything, it's just, wow. It was like KISS week. And even people who don't even know or hate KISS still had to hear about it and still had to talk about it. So I love that. I love it. I love it. So hello, Mike and Angel. Nice to meet you both too.
Nice to meet you as well.
Nice. Angel, how about you?
I'm still going through a wave of emotions as well. And I think that I was fortunate enough to go with my daughter, who had never been to a KISS concert before. So Friday was her first KISS concert, and we had not had tickets for Saturday, and we were going to kind of just wing it and see what happened. And of course, we ended up going Saturday as well. So she was really thrown into the whole Kiss Army thing really, really fast. We were dressed from head to toe. And to see her, I mean, absolutely blown away at Friday's show, because she's never been to a Kiss concert. I've been with my son before. And then to feel the energy at the second show, regardless of the ending and all that stuff, how people have different feelings for the future of the band. But I mean, to see it through, and she's a full-grown woman. She's not like a child. She's 41 years old. To see her just absolutely, you know, she met Pasquale, she met Claudio, she met all the other folks I met on the cruise, etc. And she's on cloud nine, you know. I didn't want to take away from her experience with any of my, maybe they should have done this or they should have done that. And that hit me more when I got home. You know, there was just a few little gaps there, but I mean, like, man, New York, they rolled it out. It was Kiss Week. There were people, I mean, they asked us, like, what's going on, you know? Yeah. The people at the hotel desk asked us, what are you guys doing? And, you know, 2 nights in a row, we walked through there like that. They're just looking at us like, what the heck is going on? So it was amazing. The positive way, way, way outweighs any of the questions that kind of still linger in my head, and the sadness. But, you know, we can keep it going. We can. Us, the fans, if they say we own the band, then let's own the band.
It's true.
Yeah,
great.
so I mean, it was great. The overall experience was great. No regrets ever. No bad show to me ever. Still loyal. So yeah, like I said, I went through a wave of emotions, and I still have a little bit of, I don't know about the new era thing, but you know, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Angel, this is exactly what I was talking about before we aired. This is exactly what I needed. I needed another perspective, because like you know, this has been a whirlwind of emotions, the positive, the negative, trying to figure it out, trying to understand it. It's like there's a cognitive dissonance in my head. I'm so excited about this once in a lifetime experience that was New York City. It was one of the most incredible experiences in my history. Just an amazing time, meeting with the fans and the pre-parties, the after parties, the New York experience, everything about it was just incredible. But it wasn't all perfect, and it had to do for me with the shows, and it's hard to juxtapose the excitement I was feeling during the weekend, and then the sort of disappointment with how it ended. And we'll talk about that more later. And I just didn't know how to feel about it, or even how to express it. And people who know me know that I'm a positive person. I don't complain. I don't like to complain. I like to put a positive spin on everything and look at, you know, turn negatives into positives. And this is what I've been trying to figure out how to do, you know. And it's I got to be honest, it's been difficult. I mean, my poor girlfriend, haven't seen her for a few days. I finally see her, and I'm quiet, I'm distant, and she knows it's something related to Kiss, but I just didn't want to talk about it. And just before coming on, I finally started to open up to her about it, and I said, I'm sorry for being so distant, but I just needed time to myself to work things through, and I think that I need this podcast tonight to, you know, with all of you, to help work through what I'm going through right now. And you guys are doing a fabulous job so far, because, you know, the positivity that's coming from you guys. And what is the main theme here? Us. It's the fans. And Angel, you said it. There's some negatives, but who cares? You know, looking from the perspective of Noelle, your daughter, her first time.
God.
Do you want to focus on the net? Yeah. Do you want to focus on the negative for that? Absolutely not. Focus on the positive, because she had the most incredible experience. And if you were a naysayer, it's like, what kind of experience would she have had?
Yeah, not nearly as, I mean, she's just boasting about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Probably the most you'll ever pay for a pizza.
Oh, tell me about
That's
it.
true.
Tell me about it. But guys, right off the bat, thank you so much already for putting me putting me on the right road to figuring out these emotions that I'm going through. But more on that later. So finally, sorry, Claudio.
No,
How about you?
No, look, it's been I'm with you guys. So it's been a true roller coaster for me. I had set up, the expectations so high for those days in New York that actually I can say that what happened exceeded my expectations. And I'm not talking about the band. I'm not talking about the show itself. I'm talking exactly what you just mentioned, guys. So, having the chance to walk the streets of New York with Tony, showing us, Bleecker Street, showing us, where Bowie used to live, giving the biggest hug ever to Matt that I had never had the chance to hug him so big, spending again time with you, Angel. So we had the chance to meet at the cruise, and now we spend more time in a different kind of environment, meeting Mike at the garden. So if there's a place where you can meet, Mike, it's the garden, right? So seeing him there, with the family, and of course, the beautiful time that we spent together, Pasc. To me, that's, if you ask me if I had to kind of summarize in a couple of words, I'm feeling grateful, and I'm feeling really fortunate that we had this chance of getting together and celebrate the band that we love. And with so many things going on in the world, so negative, and I think it's time to celebrate. And I think we don't have to get into the minutia of okay, yeah, we could have loved to see a different set list or whatever, what Paul was saying in between songs. I think this is bigger than that. So we're celebrating 50 years of the band that we love. And I think it's and one position that I took after talking about the avatars and all of that, I decided not to think about the future. I just want to soak it in. I just want to live the day today and maybe look back. Instead of looking forward, I want to look back and celebrate 50 years of the biggest band ever. So, because when I think of the future, that's when I start to have troubles. It's like, what is happening? I don't want to think about that. So I just want to celebrate, as I said before, walking the streets of New York, where everything started, the Loft, the Dress to Kill, corner, and Bleecker Street, and the Garden. So, and be with you guys, having the chance to meet you again, to me, that's heaven. So as we were saying, Kiss totally took over New York City last weekend with, pop-up stores, Metro cards, the taxi fleet, the Kiss pizza, the most expensive pizza ever, and but
pizza box is most expensive.
Box,
right. Exactly.
So we wanted to know: did you guys participate in this kind of scavenger hunt? Did you visit any of the historic sites? What did you do in New York before going to the Garden? Mike, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so I live in the New York area, right? I'm 25 miles east of Manhattan. So I've been in Manhattan dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I worked in Manhattan for 7 years. So I decided right off the bat that there was probably too much to do and I wouldn't be able to do it all. So I wasn't going to visit the landmark sites because I've been there before. The corner where they did the Dress to Kill album cover. I said, I don't have to do that because I've done those things. The Door where the Elder cover was based off of. But I certainly wasn't going to miss out on the Kiss unique events for the weekend, right? So, of course, I went to the pop-up store. We all did, I think, right? I waited online 2 hours to get in. And I forget who it was. I think it was you, maybe Tony, that was talking about, how even if people didn't want to know what was going on, as I'm waiting online, cars were stopping and they'd be like, what's going on? Because they just saw a huge line of people. What's going on? What's going on? So there's one guy that stopped. He rolled down his window and he asked me, actually, what's going on? I said, oh, it's a Kiss store. They're playing over here. There's Kiss merchandise. The guy rolls his eyes, rolls up the windows, just like, whatever. And then we just got the biggest laugh out of that because I think this guy could not be more disappointed to hear that it was a Kiss store. But there was this huge line of people out there, right? So I did that. Of course, I went over to the Garden, did some of the merch pre-sale. I ate the $60 pizza, which was, what it is. I made sure I got the newspapers, the cookies. I got the Metro card, but something I did that I bet you probably not many fans did, and I'm so glad I read this online like 48 hours beforehand. It wasn't a KISS specific event, but the Madison Square Garden does tours inside the garden every day. I booked a tour for Friday in the middle of the afternoon and got to go inside the garden and watch for about a half hour as they set up the stage.
Oh, nice.
So
Good
that to me,
move.
yeah, I wish I could take credit for thinking. I saw somebody post online that they were selling their tickets like 48 hours ahead of time. I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. I bet it's sold out. I went on Ticketmaster. There were tickets there. I said, purchase. It was $40 for a ticket.
Nice.
And I sat in an empty garden late afternoon, just looked around, thinking about what was going to start happening that night and the following night. And then, there's literally like 20 people in the garden only at the time, watching the stagehands working so hard, getting that stage, getting ready to set up the pods. They're bringing them up to the ceiling. And I just sat there for a half hour, just soaking that all in and saying, this is going to start in a few hours. And I'm witnessing right now the last time they're ever going to be building this stage for KISS. And that to me, I loved all the other things. I loved going to the Empire State Building. I actually saw the band right there coming out of the Empire State Building. But being in an empty Madison Square Garden, watching them build that stage was such an unexpected thing. And it wasn't a KISS thing. It wasn't on that KISS app or whatever. But I'm so thankful I did that because what a freaking amazing experience that was.
Wow.
What a great
Wow.
idea. That was amazing.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony, what about you? You're a local. So what did you do?
Yeah, I wasn't even trying to pass by some of these places, and I still go by them all the time anyway.
Yeah.
I actually went by the Loft. I went by a lot of the places on my way to do something else anyway during the week. I had a lot of other things going on during the week with people coming here from another country that had nothing to do with KISS. And you're smart, Mike, that you did that tour because I actually have some friends that work there. So I did walk in for a little bit and see a little of that and leave.
Nice.
And I actually, after the last show, I filmed some of the trucks being loaded up outside too, because it just was like a complete feeling of the whole experience, and there was still people outside watching the guys load the trucks. So I did go get the Metro card. I did get the papers, the cookies. Actually, Gene gave me a cookie at one of the events, but I was at the Empire State Building as well. And I didn't know they were going to be there for some reason. I just went by to get the paper that day. And the paper, they didn't start distributing them on time. So
Yes.
they said, we get them and we put them in this box. And then we're going to go across the street and give them to the people. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait around and meet some more people. So some people in line I bumped into, I knew online and never met before. And like Nicola from Kiss Strike and Stefan Adika, who we both played with Dee Dee Ramone, had other things to talk about. And what happened is some people online said, hey, how do you get in the front of the building? They had us waiting on the side entrance on the avenue. And I said, well, if we go in the other way, there's a big model of the Empire State Building. And we went in there and we saw the band was right there.
Oh, wow.
There.
Wow.
Doing thing, and they went up in the elevator with security and they went to the roof or something and they came back down. And then I got back in the line and then we were still waiting for the paper. And then Gene came out and they came out to pose with the guys distributing the paper and cookies. And the people I love handing out the paper and the cookies are the ones that look like they're so bored and they hate doing it. There was one dude, this great African-American dude with a beard who was dressed like Gene every day. He was hilarious and he was dancing around and singing. He was into it. But there were some people that just looked like, here's your paper or your cookie, whatever. But it came out, Gene started throwing cookies and he saw me and gave me a cookie. So I'm sure that was probably Gene's idea to even have cookies. And so it was so great just to see people, meet people that I have met in real life. Like you, Claudio, it was wonderful to finally meet you. And I wish and the thing we can take, and so I did everything I could. I went to all the stores, bought stuff, met people, but I had other things going on. So maybe not as much as I wanted to, but I tried to do a little of everything and enjoy the whole week and experience and share with others who were new to it. went to a show with someone who had never seen the band and they loved it, things like that. So it was great. And so really proud to be a New Yorker, ultimate, like such a feeling again to be a New Yorker. And the thing we can take away is that we always have these friendships and they're going to grow no matter what. And, you know, Kiss themselves doesn't probably know what's going to happen in the future. So I don't even think about that too. Kiss is about living in the moment and enjoying things now. Anyway, so I don't worry about things like that too. Just see what happens. Anyway, but I did all the things I could do. And I went to pizza a couple times. Mike, you must have went the first day because the next day they raised the price.
Online that it was a bit of a disaster there with the price changing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went, they were so nice to me. So, you know, I have to just say that. I said I wouldn't eat a pepperoni and what was it, spicy pepper pizza. They gave me 2 free slices of regular pizza, right? And they said it was $60. They were nothing but kind to me, but I've read some of the horror stories and how prices were $100 the next day. Just so I guess I lucked out.
Yeah, just for the
It's
box.
jacking up the prices on eBay, and the guy showed you the phone like, here, you know, they're selling the box for $300.
Oh God,
It's New York.
That's insane.
It's New
New
York.
York prices.
Angel, what about you? What did you do? Did you do the treasure hunt? Did you go anywhere?
You know, wah, wah, wah. My daughter and I, we tried. You know, I didn't sleep the night before because I left San Francisco. I'd leave my house like at 3 a.m. I work at night at the theater, so I'm like wide awake, so I didn't sleep. Caught my flight at about 7 and landed midday, big cab ride back to the hotel. And we were on the corner of 37th and Lexington, which was right down the street from the pop-up store. And but it was my daughter's birthday that day. And she made reservations at a really nice restaurant for some Italian dinner. So what am I going to say? No, I want to go stand in the rain for 2-3 hours. Like, trust me, she knows now, but at that time, she really didn't know what she was getting herself into. So Thursday, we went out to a nice dinner. And then the next day, she used to live there. So thank goodness, because I could not hail a cab if you paid me. I don't know. She's like, no, that's towards the water, Mom. I said, what water? I mean, I'm just like so turned around. I don't know where I am. I just know that I was near the Empire State Building. We could see it from our window. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, by the way. What a sight to see. But so we did the dinner thing. And then the next day, we live about 6 hours away from each other. And she lives in LA. And she brought a lot of pieces that went to my costume. And then I had things that went to her costume. And we were hustling to get these costumes done for Friday night's show, you know. So, but we did go out, of course, because we were hungry and stuff. And everywhere we went, nope, we don't have any papers left. Nope, there's no more Metro passes here. And we just felt like, wow, what are we doing wrong, you know? And I didn't want to look too disappointed because you know, she lived there for like 3-4 years. And she says, okay, Mom, we'll find some. And we never did. I have not one New York Post. I don't have a cookie. I didn't have any pizza. But it's okay. It's okay. You know, I had a great time, and I found out that New York is amazing and there's so many things to do. We wandered, I put in like 30,000 steps one day, just wandering around. And then real quick, I made the mistake of flagging down one of those little guys with the buggy, you know, because it started raining really hard. Yeah, he charges $8 a minute.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I have that sucker written across my forehead. Because Noelle went in. She goes, no, Ma, talk him down. I already paid him. And then he wanted a tip too. And my daughter came out. She goes, no tip. And he goes, no English. She goes, I don't care. And we laughed. But no, 20 minutes was it was $160.
Ouch.
Wow.
I know. The streets were all closed. Saks Fifth Avenue was doing something. The cabs were just like, they were stuck in traffic. And this guy, of course, was going in and out. So it was kind of worth it. Yeah. But, oh, man. Wow. Yeah, he must have thought he read us wrong. Everybody's playing Christmas music. We get in, and he's playing the worst house music I've ever heard in my life. Like, is that the what I'm giving off here? And there's my daughter posted a video on my Facebook page, and in one scene, I'm like cracking up. You can't hear the music. It was because of the music. I'm like, man, whoa, this guy didn't read us very well because we're rockers, but it's okay. We're just like, But I love your guys' city. I didn't get any of the souvenirs and stuff, and it's okay because I loved exploring your city, and my daughter showed me how to hail a cab and all that good stuff. I still had a blast, and I'm
awesome.
so happy for those who got them legitimately, and shame on you who took stacks. That's all I'm going to say.
But Angel, the quality time that you spend with Noelle, with your daughter, that's something you cannot beat. It doesn't matter which souvenir you're gonna get.
She's gonna watch this too. When we went on set, we were both Delta, but we flew to separate cities. When I gave her a hug, she started crying.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm gonna see her at Christmas, and I just saw her at Thanksgiving. It was the trip. It was you guys. It was the band. It was the city. It was everything. She felt what I've been experiencing all these years in 3.5 days. Exactly. She was just, and she shared my passion, and she got it, because everybody knew, oh yeah, Angel loves Kiss, oh, the guys with the makeup type thing. But now she really, really understands all my stuff in my house and and how, one of you said it, we're so honored, privileged, and blessed that we have the means, the health, the time to be there. So that's why I'm not focusing on any of the negative at all, because
be there. Some people couldn't make it and they watch the paper, but at least we could be there. And I want to see how you dressed. Like I'm a costume designer as well. I want to see what you got dressed as. How'd you dress up?
My daughter was Ace Frehley and I was Paul Stanley. Right. And from what I hear, our costumes were pretty cool.
They were so cool. You have to see that, Tony.
You have to friend me on Facebook.
Sure.
We couldn't walk, like not one foot, like 12 inches with people. We took so many pictures with people. And I think Noelle's really stood out with all the silver and the makeup and the silver costume. And she's just this great looking young lady. And I was just her sidekick at that point, and it's okay. But the picture ops were just nonstop. And we loved every minute of it. And it was so crazy because the next day, here it is Saturday, we're walking around, just two ladies in New York. Not a person cared who we were or where we were going or what we were doing. We went home to the hotel, put that stuff on, and there it was again. We couldn't move without people wanting their picture with us. So it was kind of a nice little snippet of maybe what, the guys have gone through all these years and stuff. And we were tired. I won't lie. We were tired, but we're nice. They're taking pictures of us sharing a rice bowl at the garden. We're like, you can ask us, we put it down and we're like, we didn't even finish it. We threw it away and just took pictures, so, but it was, what, wouldn't change a minute of it. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
So do that for 50 years and then
yes. Yes. Yeah. And I'm not in my 70s, of course. And just, to put our big old boots on again and put the wig on again and all the stuff that goes with it, I totally get it. I do. And I didn't want to be rude to anybody, can we have your picture? What am I going to say? No,
No.
Yeah. And my daughter and I, she stayed in character the whole time. She never smiled. She goes, you never see a picture of Ace smiling unless he's laughing. I go, you're right.
True.
If you got to friend me, all her pictures, she's so solemn. Right? She's trying to be all cool, but she's a very happy, lovely young lady. But we had a blast.
She should have had a glass in her hand,
That's right.
That's great.
Right.
So Matt, what about you? So how was your adventure there?
You know what? It's funny because when a lot of the stories I'll say we did this or we did that, and I got to give a shout out to one of my best friends on the planet, Mr. Bobby Dreyer, because I went up with him and we had a smooth train ride out of New Jersey. We got dropped right off. I'm not even kidding you. As we get off the train, we walk up and they're stacking those newspapers. There's huge bundles. But as Angel just said, the guy in front of us was trying to grab a bunch, and even these guys that are working it probably were the same ones Tony was talking about, is just going, don't take a whole bunch. Don't take a whole bunch. Just take one. And we're like, so we just took one, but the you saw a little bit of that, and then we went kind of just wandering around, and we ended up at that Kiss pop-up store, and you figure the weather was kind of iffy, but we start waiting in line, and then you realize, and if anybody that was there, they know that the line went down the street, across the street, and then back up the street, and we're just like, well, look, we're not really going to go do anything else. Let's just stay. And the great thing was, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, was that I knew a bunch of people in line. So you kind of walk around saying hello to everybody, and then you stand there and you just meet all these people. Shout out Rocco and his friends from like Louisiana that were just so cool. They just happened to be standing right behind us. Then Adam Perkins and his wife Kelly came running up. It's Matt Porter. Oh, we know you from online. And that's everybody from their their Facebook profile picture. But again, that idea of just meeting people in real life, and especially when everyone in that line loves Kiss and just wants to talk about it. And gee, could we spend 2 hours standing in line talking about Kiss? I think we're going to do it right now. But the funny thing is that really, even the whole experience of waiting and just talking to people. And I thought the pop-up store was a blast. They really had some cool stuff, although I did not get one of those really nice scarves. And that's what I wanted, even for $50. And the young lady who was dressed as Ace had this immaculate, perfect Ace makeup. And she says they were sold out in the first hour, the first day. And you're like, whoa. And that was a little surprising that maybe they had something, and it looked great hanging on the wall. And the funny thing is, I said to them, well, sell me that one off the wall if you don't have any left. And they say, well, we can't because they're damaged because they have a tack hole in it from hanging on the wall. And you're like, well, if it's damaged, it's unique. I want that one. Oh, they wouldn't do it. But it's funny because so that was really our kind of afternoon on Friday, was waiting in that pop-up line. Did any of you get on that little thing that spins around?
Oh, yeah.
They put your phone. That was fun. Seeing all the costumes was fun. Like the way that they figured out. It's like Disney World, where when you're waiting in line, the line is still part of the experience. Seeing those elder costumes or seeing like the different posters and all that kind of stuff, that just all adds to it. So we did that. And I know you guys know that I went to the Hard Rock show or the Hard Rock party at the end after the first night, because I saw Claudio and Pasquale. We went to that. Then we're walking around Times Square around 2:00 in the morning, getting a slice of pizza, which was great. And it's funny, I didn't see the really super expensive pizza, but I don't even kind of care because I just like kind of pizza. United Nations, love all, eat all. It's funny. I feel like sometimes I'm spoiled because a lot of time, and everybody would debate who has the best pizza, whether it's New York or New Haven, or whether it's I think Pennsylvania.
The next one.
Well, see, I need to come up, and we're just going to do a pizza tour because, I feel like I'm pretty lucky in Pennsylvania. We have good pizza. Like, I feel like the farther south, maybe you don't get as good pizza. I don't know. But like my brother-in-law, he lives in North Carolina, says, yeah, we can't get good pizza. But like we went to Bobby's favorite place on Saturday. This pizza's like paper thin. It's perfect. It's like unbelievable. So a lot of that. And, that was really a lot of, so I didn't really do a lot of the extra stuff because like Mike had said, I've done that dress to kill thing where you stand there with your picture. And, I was more focused on kind of doing the specific Kiss events, like the pop-up store, like that Hard Rock party, things that were, that were really kind of organized. And that Hard Rock party was jam-packed. But again, great to see so many smiling faces. Even the after the show on Saturday, we were at some bar, I don't know the name, tons of people, packed. You get to see everybody. I like taking pictures with everybody. So that was really the extra experience, outside of the concert, was really just, and I'll say it probably 100 times, but my favorite thing is just meeting everybody. You're all there, and I wish I had seen more people. Like, I really wish that like when we were standing in line for 3 hours waiting at the pop-up store, maybe I would have gone somewhere else and found other people, but we found a ton of cool people there. So it's kind of like everywhere that you went, there was just somebody fun to talk to and something fun to do. And, so that was those are really kind of all the extras that we did while we were up there.
And you could feel that actually, no matter who you met, and where, we were all on the same frequency, right? So it's like it was a complete connection right away.
Everybody has their stories, and everybody likes to tell them. Whether you're on a podcast, as we are now, or whether you're meeting these people online, standing in line, or even like I think it was Mike that said, or Angel had said, was everywhere you walked, people, what's this Kiss show going on? Like people asking, and like we were walking in these two girls, and they were very attractive, and they're like, "What is all the Kiss stuff going on this week?" I'm like, "Oh, it's last shows." Like I can't be more excited, and it's like like wherever you were, it was just that was the vibe was. But I thought it was funny, like people, it's funny. You always hear like you got to be really weird to stand out in New York, and but. It's like the fact that everybody was there with their Kiss gear on really just was mind blowing, and it's how you instantly recognized your people. So it was just, one of us.
Empire State Building line, I was in line, for the paper, and we're all waiting for the paper. And the people who work in the building for the Empire State Building came by and said, "Are you in line for the building?" Like, no, we're in. They didn't even know what was going on.
Same thing happened to me. Yep.
Yeah.
Busk, so what was your experience like?
This whole Kiss takes over in New York was genius. It was genius. The marketing behind it, they know what Kiss fans are like. And then we're going to run around town to get all these little Kiss trinkets. And Claudio, I remember on the Thursday, we were seeing all this stuff that was happening in New York, and I was getting anxious. It's like, oh my God, it's all going to be gone, and how are we going to get to do all this? And oh my God, I want to start now, And on 4 hours sleep, we left the hotel, got to the pop-up store at 8:45. We waited 2.5 hours. We talked to the fans. We went from the pop-up store. We went to Penn Station. We got the card from Penn Station. We met Tony there. He took us to Prince Street. $50 US for a pizza. And by the way, I got the exchange. I paid 70 Canadian. For that box.
If you got the pizza for 50, you got the best deal, it sounds like.
I didn't touch the pizza.
It was
just the box.
Oh, just the box.
Just the box.
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't want to put grease on the box. No pizza. Just the box. And then Claudio, I'm not going to do it. And I convinced the poor guy to do it.
Yeah. So are you serious? He's telling me you're not going to get the box? Okay, I'll get it. Okay.
I had to twist his arm, And Tony, man, you showed us where Lady Gaga used to live, David Bowie, Bleecker Street. Oh my God. We were walking around the streets of New York, the neighborhood of New York, that otherwise I would never have gone, Tony, if it wasn't for you. I felt like a New Yorker, man. It was amazing, and that's what this experience did. It helped us to really get immersed into the New York scene, the New York culture. And no, Matt, you were saying that Kiss fans were talking with each other whenever they saw a Kiss t-shirt. Strangers came up to us. We met a couple of guys near the tree who actually came to visit Montreal and Quebec City like 10 years ago and remembered poutine, remembered specific clubs, specific restaurants, just because we wore a Kiss t-shirt. Wow. We were talking to these strangers at the after party on Saturday. This is what I love about New York. I was talking with somebody and my butt kept on hitting behind this poor woman. And her friend goes, hey, watch out. I go, oh, listen, I'm so sorry. I have a big butt. The woman looks at me and goes, yeah, you do have a big butt. I go, and I said, this is why I love you guys, man. You have attitude, but it's so much fun. And that's the best part of New York. It's the attitude, but they do it with respect.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, Matt, you said it was like an aside. That was for me the experience. And I'm a kind of person who loves the connections, making connections with people. And it was all day of doing this, all day of running around. And Claudia could attest to this. At the end, we were gone.
Oh,
we
we
were
were done.
dead tired.
Oh, yeah.
But 4 hours later, we did it again.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Well, that's, I think it's funny, the whole thing. I kind of call it the asides because it's like all the bonus stuff. Like, a lot of time you go to a concert, you go to whatever venue, and it's just in that little bubble is where it happens. But feeling like the whole city felt like it was alive with Kiss.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, even when you think about it, I think we're all probably around the somewhat of the same age, we're all spoiled by the fact that you never got just the record. You got a poster, you got the tattoos, you got a gun that popped. It was always something extra, which is, I think, one of the things with Kiss. There's always more than just that thing. Like, this could have been just 2 really amazing shows, and it would have been enough. But there was so much else going on that it just was like so value added. And I mean, and some people would say, well, this sounds stupid, but I think we expect that as Kiss fans. You're always thinking it's going to be bigger.
Yeah.
We do it bigger than every other fans of bands. And we want everything, and you want a box of pizza that doesn't have pizza in it. It's like, which I think that's what really was amazing about it.
To that point, Matt, Wednesday night, I was saying to my wife, I was going to go to the city Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And she said, why? And I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know exactly why. I just know I want to be there because I know the way Kiss fans are, and I know there's going to be so much going on. He's like, well, you're going to be in a store for 10 minutes, and what are you going to do for the other 6 hours? I said, trust me, there's going to be a lot to do. And to me, that was, as to your point, so well said. It's as much that experience as the concerts to me. It was just all of that other stuff going on really just enhanced over a 3-day period. It really made the experience so incredible to me.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
So great for me to run into and meet Claudio, and I knew I would. I don't even plan this kind of stuff. I didn't plan to see the band at Empire State Building. I didn't even know about it. It just happened. That's the way it goes. Just be in it to win it. And then
exactly.
Matt, who I love, Matt, I've known for years, and we spoke on the phone at the show, but I didn't even get down to his seat. I did see you from far away and wave. That's about it. But I was glad that I got to see you guys, Pasquale and Claudio, and that was
fantastic.
That made my day. And anytime I would show any of you guys around if you're here. And Ronnie Lundell asked me if I was interested in doing like a tour when people are here, and I really had so much going on that I said, I don't know, but then I ended up writing the article for the magazine Destroyer. But for certain people that I love, like you guys, and then I'll show you around if you want to know anything. And I did go by Bob Gruen's studio, and he wasn't even going to the shows, but I looked through all the Kiss photos of every yesteryear and thought about it, and I just kind of relived it in my mind, every show I've been to, and there's been a lot. And and I enjoyed every era of the band, and I met every member of the band. I knew some of them. I was friends with Eric Carr. I walked by where he used to stay and used to hang out, and just like a lot of emotional things. It's very heavy, but it really fills me with, warms me up to see you guys and get to share these places with you that you might have walked right by.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it made it was truly I'm telling you, Tony, it was one of the highlights of our trip there, finding you on the subway, and doing the stuff. That was fantastic. As we drove from Montreal on Thursday, so we took off at 12:30. And but with such excitement that we didn't feel tired. So then we dropped off our stuff at the hotel in Jersey at Meadowlands, and then we headed down to Staten Island to have pizza with Michael Altini, right? So he was there waiting for us, and kudos for him. We went for pizza again, and we ended up going to bed at 2 a.m. or something. But the next day we were up,
world.
That's right, exactly. We just said, we did everything on Friday, and then the after party with Kiss Army Spain. That was great when we met with Matt and an Angel there too. So that was fantastic. And needless to say, with the shows, but we're gonna touch on that later. But what a ride! Yeah.
No, Matt. And if you want pizza, Claudia, what was that pizza place called?
The Ninos.
The Ninos in Staten Island. Oh my God, amazing pizza! And what do you call it? Calamar, not calamari. Calamar.
Yeah. They don't say calamari, they say calamar.
Calamar. And if you say calamari, they'll give you a dirty look and probably kick you out. So
that's right.
It's funny because if you see me looking down on my phone, I was trying to look at my pictures and figure out what the name of that place was that I went to with Bobby. That has that really, and I can't find it on my phone.
Let's just go to every pizza place anyway, Matt.
Right.
Well, but the funny thing was, and this is like really the craziest thing, we go in, and I'm not even kidding, we're sitting at this pizza place, and we have our Kiss shirts on, and the dude starts saying, oh, I'm Bob, what was his name? His name was Ben the bartender, right? That's what we call him. He goes, I sang happy birthday to Paul Stanley at his 50th birthday because, I was a bartender where he was celebrating his 50th birthday, blah, blah, blah. So everybody has a Kiss story, because then he goes, oh, you should talk to that lady. And he points down the bar. She used to work for Kiss, and she goes, oh, my first job out of high school, I was Gene's personal assistant. So like everywhere you went, and these are people that don't have any idea what we're knuckleheads are doing sitting there with our Kiss shirts on, and they just want to talk about Kiss. And it was just like, it was funny. So
after they bought the pizza boxes, we walked across town to my neighborhood, and we had pizza at a different place in my neighborhood. And I said to the guy at Uncle Sam's Pizza, I said, you got Kiss pizza boxes? And he's like, no. I go, you should think about it.
You see, that's Kiss fans for you, eh? We go to a pizza place for a pizza box, and somewhere else for
the actual
pizza.
That's great.
I love New York and love being a Kiss fan. So, keeping with the theme of, the extras outside of the Kiss concerts, what pre-parties or after parties did you guys participate in? Any fan gatherings? Tony?
Well, the most fan gathering I did was with you guys, because what happened, or in lines with people, I wasn't able to go to pre or after parties at all because I had a lot of important meetings during the week about things that are gonna help me in the future. People coming in London and whatever. So I had so much work I had to do so I could just play at night. So I still got out to get the papers, and that my time was in line with people. But that was my big thing. I didn't make it to the after parties at all. But I enjoyed myself a lot riding around the city, seeing everybody in line, wondering what's going on. And I really loved coming home after the whole Empire State Building thing and seeing it like lit up, walking the street and seeing it lit up, just like brought a tear to my eyes. Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
So Angel, I know that you did all the parties.
Yeah, I went to the Kiss Army Spain one at the Hard Rock, and I was pleased to find out because I booked the tickets for my daughter and I, and then we had corresponded through Facebook, and you were going to that party as well. So I was super happy about that. And then you informed me about the other party that was pretty much sold out, and I was pretty bummed. But then, you work your magic, and you found out that gentleman wasn't going to go, and you contacted Joe, who was hosting the party, and I was able to purchase Dwayne's tickets that wasn't able to go. So we were at both parties that you and Claudia were at as well. So it was great, though, is I sent you a picture of what my daughter and I looked like dressed up, because you said you would have never recognized us.
Never, ever.
No way. No way.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we had big boots, big hair. I mean, and you're just like, I am not used to looking up at you like this. And, so it was great to see you the next day. at the other party. And, you know, it was a little more realistic, you know, but yeah. He said, thanks for sending me the picture because I would have never recognized you guys with your costumes on. So, yeah, but they were great gatherings. They were great gatherings. It was, you know, to be in Times Square and just like you said, just have the unity of all the KISS people there, and the KISS music was just blaring, and people were just mingling and drinking and having a good time. And I was just soaking it all in, you know. So I hope somehow in the future we can do things like that, and we are supportive of these events in the future, and that we do make the same sacrifices with our jobs and our families and finances or whatever to make them successful. You know, because it takes a lot of effort, you know, to say, hey, Hard Rock, from this time to this time, I want to, you know, throw a party, because they have to put the money up front, you know, and rent that room. And I'm glad that both seem to be really, really successful and support people that actually put themselves out there like that financially, and hope they do sell enough tickets, etc., to make it even just to break even. I'm sure they'd be happy just to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it was, I mean, it was amazing. It was nice to see you, like I said, the next day in just regular street clothes and just, you know, it just felt a little bit more like I'm seeing my old friends again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah. Right. Because I mean, I was like, I'm 5'9", you know, boots, wig. I mean, I'm a big lady.
You were intimidating, nice. Angel. I was talking to you. I was looking up at you. It's like I feel like a little runt, you know.
Yeah. And then, you know what, just to tough it out and wear those big old boots all over New York, you know, it just didn't feel right to go put on some flats or low boots. I mean, so Noelle and I, we just sucked it up and we went for it, and we enjoyed every minute of it. Yeah. So the parties were great. The two that we attended were absolutely great. And the one after Saturday night.
Yeah, after the last show.
Yeah, Barney's Pub or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. It took us forever to get there because people were just trying to take our picture, you know. So it was cool. Thank you so much. I mean, you let me know where I should go because, like I said, I'm squirrely in a big city like that. Like, just tell me an address, I'll be there, because I have no sense of direction. I mean, I would literally get out of the elevator, and my daughter's like, "Are you serious? Where are you going? Where's that way?" I'm like, "Oh." She's like, I was just Salinas is not a small town. But I'm between San Francisco and LA, and there's Monterey and Pebble Beach, but it's very quaint. It's very, you know, I'm not used to that. I haven't called a cab here in my life unless it's for a customer who can't leave, you know? So I don't use Uber. I don't. I drive. I could never drive in your guys' city. Never. God bless you guys. I've never heard so many horns honking in my life. You know, there's drive, park, and horn. You know, oh my God.
I love it.
I told my daughter the first night, I go, something's going on out there. Listen to all that honking and stuff and the sirens. She goes, Mom, it's New York. It's going to be like that all night long. I'm like, holy shoot. Yeah, so I'd been there before, but I stayed out in Chappaqua, like where family lived, like way out. And we'd just go and see a show and go back. So that was amazing. I loved it.
No, yes. The irony is that at one point during Joe's pre-party, I just needed a little bit of me time, a little bit of quiet time. So you know what I did? I went out into the sidewalk in a corner of 37th and just stood there and listened to the sounds of New York. Oh my God, I just love the energy of that city.
Nothing like it.
Oh my God, like just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So Mike, how about you?
Yeah, I'll say, you know, unfortunately, I did not go to any of the pre or post parties. You know, what was cool to me is over the 3 days, I probably stopped and took pictures with easily 75 to 100 different fans. And they say, oh, I love the podcast that you do. I love the page that you have and all of that. I would have loved to have seen more people because I feel like I didn't see anywhere near everybody I wanted to. But, you know, when Angel was talking before about having her daughter with her, you know, on the Thursday and Friday when I was in the city, my brother came with me. And, you know, nice. My brother, you know, wanted to. He's not anywhere near as much of a big KISS fan as I am. But he's like, this has been a part of your life. I want to be there with you for this journey. Then my daughter was with me at the concert and my wife on Friday night. My daughter was with me on Saturday night. And it was important to me to have the people that were closest to me my whole life. You know, my childhood friend was with me at the final show. My other friends that I've had since teenager was with me on the Friday night show. And I wanted to have that experience with the people that were closest to me. But I'll admit, I did feel a little bit like, oh, I wish I was at that pre-party. I wish I was at that post-party. I wish I could have seen, you know, whoever it was that I didn't get the chance to see. But it was equally important to me. And I loved, Angel, when you were talking about that and the experience that you had with your daughter. My daughter's 25. And she was like, as soon as they announced, what was it, back in March, that they were going to do these final shows, my daughter texted me maybe before I even heard about it and said, Dad, we're going together, right? You know, and to me, and
so
Pas, you know, that's how I met you, Pas, was through my daughter. I actually had one of the Kiss Expos, right? So, you know, to me, it was important to have that experience as well as having the fans and you know, being able to mingle with the fans. So I tried to balance both of those over the 3-day period without driving my brother, my wife, my friends, and my daughter crazy. So my brother was like joking with me that he was going to have a counter with him every time somebody stopped me. Can we take a picture? Hey, Mike, how you doing? And after like 2 hours on the first day, he's like, I'm already over 30. I quit. I can't keep doing this. You know? So, you know, I tried to balance that, but unfortunately, I didn't do any of the official parties.
Okay. Matt, how about you?
Well, like I said, I met you guys at that Kiss Army Spain party at the Hard Rock. That was a blast. And I mean, and look, I can't kind of say it enough. I mean, thanks to Bobby, before the show on Saturday night, we went out to dinner with like Keith LaRue and a bunch of other fans, and at this really good steakhouse. And you know, you can get I got ribs, and then would you want an accessory with that, like a lobster tail? You're like, yes, I would. And I mean, that was a whole experience in itself, because we got to go inside, like Mike was saying, getting to walk around inside the garden. We were in parts of the garden where you just don't go. Like we were allowed to go in all these little tunnels. We were backstage. Like, you know, we went, like, we walked through the production area like as if we're just backstage, and we saw like Sebastian Bach and Craig Gass and all these people are just backstage. And we saw then we were in the pit. So we saw Amber Wild on the Saturday night from the pit. So
Wow.
like right up by the stage. And at one point, this was the part where I get real nervous, like I'm going to get in trouble, was after Amber Wild finished, I went around the back, and I want to be on Gene's side in the pit. So I sneak around, and now I'm standing I'm within arm's length of the stage, and the giant curtain drops behind me. So now I'm on the other side of the giant stage looking at it backwards. Then I'm having a great conversation with the one camera guy. How did he get started? Maybe I can get you to a master class with my students here at the school, you know, all kind of stuff. He's super fun. And then of course you get you can't be back here, because when that thing drops, you're going to get hit in the head. So then we had to move out, we went to dinner that night, which was great. But that was really, as far as a lot of the stuff, like we went to the Hard Rock party, the pop-up store, dinner with Keith and a bunch of other, like, just awesome, amazing people that we met. And and that was kind of like it, and then obviously the shows are the big thing. But you get to Bobby is a traveler, and Bobby is somebody who knows what's going on, and it's fun for me to kind of just hang out with him, because he flies in a different circle, and it's an enjoyable time.
So Matt, do you remember some crazy person knocking on the restaurant window saying,
it was that whole time people are walking by, and I mean, honestly, everybody recognizes Keith. So they all waved to Keith. I was sitting next to a wonderful woman named Sandy, who seemed to also know everyone. And every that walked by was mugging up against the glass. Ooh, and it was just like, and it was hysterical, and she seemed to know everybody. And then sitting next to her is Lori Georgievich, who I know, who is like always give Paul Stanley roses. So she knows everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So between the two of them, and then we met this guy Brian that sat next to us that was super nice, and his son, and then the other, like I forget some of the people's name, but it was tremendous, and again, that was the thing. You're sitting there with people who really just want to talk about Kiss. I think sometimes I always laugh, because especially doing like these podcasts and doing the Kiss Room and stuff like that, you talk to people who say, where I grew up, nobody knew about Kiss. Nobody talked about Kiss. Like, when I talked to Adam, he says to me, when I grew up, I was the only person I knew that liked Kiss. Like I didn't have somebody to talk to about Kiss. So now I had, like he says, when I discovered your podcast, it was like listening to people that I wanted to talk to. So now you had all these people, and I'm sure you get that same kind of thing. It's what draws people to your podcast is you guys really especially celebrate the fan experience.
Yeah.
And other fans, I think, want to feel that. I'm not the only one that's crazy about this stuff. That's I think really there's a big part to it. So those were the things that we did kind of surrounding the concert.
Nice. And how about you, Claudio?
Well, we can split this one in two if you wish. So, on Friday night we did the Kiss Army Spain as we talked. And what I loved about it is it was like a mini Kiss cruise. There were people like from 25 different countries, and you could tell, that was really well done and well managed by Javier, Mauricio, and Alex. There were some raffles there. They were giving away stuff. That was great. So that was great. We had a great time, and that was from 12 to 2, I think, if I remember well. Yeah. So great time. So to me, I will always remember that because that was the first time that I met Matt there. So how can you forget that? So that was great. And no, that was fantastic. A lot of fun. Kiko Riojas from Mexico. People from all over the map. That was fantastic. And then, of course, the pre-party on Saturday. So you want to touch on that, Pasc?
For me, that pre-party was definitely the highlight of the entire New York Kiss experience, because that pre-party was what it really was about. Us, the Kiss fans, man. Joe and Patrice could put on an amazing show, and they are such amazing people, and they draw in such amazing, genuine people. And it was like a mini Kiss Cruise reunion. Everybody was there having a great time, singing, dancing, eating, drinking, taking pictures. It was amazing. And DJ Noise, obviously an amazing DJ, always gets the crowd going. And he ended the pre-party with Goodbye. And I filmed the entire thing, and people were hugging and people were crying, and if you watch the video, I'm basically panning down from the back, going to the front where DJ is playing, and then I turn my camera around, and it just stops there, and it's shaking. That's because I'm hugging Jessica, and we're both crying. It's like, oh my God, I'm about to cry right now. And for me, that's what it's about. It's connections with people. Yeah. And that's what I was telling my girlfriend, Brenda. Being a Kiss fan makes you feel like a rock star. Everywhere you go, people know you. People from around the world recognize you. People want to take pictures of you. Why? I'm just a fan. We're all just fans. Yes. And people want pictures of us. What? I don't get it. Yeah. Claudio, people were screaming, "Hey, Kiss Army Nation podcast." What? You watch our show? You watch our show? We saw a girl at the venue. It's like, "Oh, that's a cool look. Let's take a picture of her." Gotta take a picture. She goes, "I recognize you guys. Aren't you from that podcast?" I go, "Are you kidding me?" And that's what I'm going to miss most. I'm having withdrawal symptoms already because I am never going to feel like that rock star again. And my girlfriend goes, "Well, you have to find other passions, other things that you're going to enjoy." Of course, I have many passions, but my life with Kiss has always been a 10. Now it may reach at most an 8. It'll never get to that level. And man, Claudio, we took full advantage of the New York experience because we knew this was it. This was the last time. This amazing group of people from all over the world would come together and celebrate this band. And for me, Joe's pre-party really was the epitome of what this experience was about. And I will never, ever forget New York.
That's it. Yeah, well said.
It's funny though, and Angel had mentioned it earlier about, if these people put these events on, that we should support them. I think really it's funny because that's one of the things that as moving forward, obviously everybody's thinking what comes next, and there might not be another show. And I'm probably jumping around the script a little bit here, but when you think about it, it doesn't mean there will not be more KISS events. We will get to see all of you, and it probably, hopefully, in even more intimate settings. Like, wouldn't it be great if, let's say, Gene or Paul, like Gene, obviously those Gene solo shows rank among my favorite things I've ever been to ever. Like when I stood next to Gene and sang Rock and Roll All Night, like 10-year-old me, you can never say that's going to happen in your life.
Yeah.
So I feel like, let's say, Gene goes back out. He's got the awesome, Rock City Machine Company as his band. He's going to still be there. Ace can have a new album come out. Ace will, be doing his thing. Let's say they do a convention like Tony was mentioning. He goes, hangs out with his buddy Bob Gruen. If Bob Gruen did a gallery show, let's all go to that. Like things like that. I feel like that now even more. There could be more KISS events because they're not tied to, okay, we're in Poughkeepsie, now we're in, you know what I mean? Like they could do things anywhere. And I think in a way that's now look, and I won't go too inside, but I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I lost 2 people really close to me. Until Gene and Paul are in the ground, they will be doing KISS stuff. I think. I mean, will they put on makeup? Will they do shows, huge shows? No. That seems like, even it's funny because we all talked about traveling there and some of you came farther than the others, but I hate traveling. Like, I don't like having to pack. I don't like having to go through like the airport. I don't like going on the train. I'm too old for a lot of that stuff. But I imagine the same way. They just don't want to travel anymore. Like at some point, Gene Simmons wants to wake up in his bed. Everybody's sharing that clip where he says, I have a kidney stone. I got a kidney stone and you got to travel. You still have to be Gene Simmons because we don't want anything less. And I think that really that's the thing I'm looking for. Okay, when's the next big KISS Expo? When's the next New Jersey KISS Expo? Because I'm going to see you all there. Yeah. It's like, and it'll just be another excuse for everybody to get together. Now, we're going to get a new album? No. I think they've pretty much said that, you don't make any money making a record anymore. It's like, I mean, Gene often is certainly quoted, oh, rock is dead. No, making money by doing rock it's not what it was when they grew up. Mm-hmm. When KISS came up, you could make a lot of money selling a lot of albums. I don't know the bands, if you get 80 billion streams on Spotify, if you're getting, enough to buy one of the $50 pizzas, but so I think in that respect, and like I said, I'm probably skipping around, but when you think about it, if somebody puts on an event, whether it's an expo or, even let's say it's Paul Stanley does like a storytellers, like he did on the cruise, where if he took that to small theaters, he'd sell them all out. Why not? Yeah. Just sit there, it's like, so things like that. In my feeling, it's why I really haven't gotten depressed about it, because I feel like and of course, we'll talk about the avatars because everybody has that on their mind. What's next? But when you really come down to it, what's next has always been the fun. When you're little, did you ever think that your superhero idols would be in a movie? Then did you ever think that they would take the makeup off? I mean, we probably all sat and watched that on MTV, like, what's going on here? And then how many years did we say, do you think they'll ever put the makeup back on? There was always something fun. Like, I think a lot about it. We talk a lot about it on the KISS Room too. Is like, you remember those early expos, like the Rothman Center and things like that. Yeah. There's not too many things that will make men sit around in a circle Indian style other than watching KISS bootlegs or a stripper. And it's one of those things where, that really, those kind of experiences, we will all have, and I think that's the kind of stuff, that in the future, that's what I really see all this fun continuing. I'm trying not to be upset about it because I feel like there will always be something fun, and especially because of creative KISS fans who are going to do expos or who might do like even, tribute bands. Things like that now more than ever. Let's go see your favorite tribute band. And if you happen to say, hey, look, I'm coming and I want you all to come to this show or that show, that's the fun. And so we'll always have something to look forward to. One of the jokes I've been making all week is obviously, and I don't know if we're going to do a whole chapter in this about the avatars, but I said, look, the avatars aren't coming to your house to take all your old KISS records and leave, okay? Alive 2 still sounds great. So it's just,
exactly.
It's like, and I think that's, my thing has always been, KISS can be whatever you want. It could be the originals. It could be with makeup. It could be no makeup. It could be reunion. It could be Paul, Gene, Eric, and Tommy. Paul, Gene, Ace, and Peter. You know, it's whatever. And I think, you know, I'm going kind of way off the track, but I think it's one of those things where that's what makes all this fun, is getting together with everybody, you know?
That's what I said at the very beginning. I think it's up to the Kiss fans to make sure that we keep the memory and legacy of Kiss alive in one form or another. You know, expos, tribute bands, all of that. We need to keep that going. This cannot die. It will not die. We will not let it die.
And you see people posting things like, oh, well, if they're going to do the avatars, I'm out.
Come on.
A lot of people said that. What's the Elder? And they're out. What's the disco album? And they're out. And like, they'll never get back together. Oh, and then they have the biggest tour ever. And then like, it's like, jump off the train wherever you like. I don't give a crap. I'm riding to the end. So it's just
well, Matt, you know what? I'll say this. Right before we started recording, a friend of mine texted and asked me, what did I think of the avatars? And I said, well, look, first off, I'm not sure that I'm the target audience. However, let me say this. 12, 13 years ago, when Kiss announced the first cruise, I said, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. 10 cruises later for me, I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So until I see it, I'm going to reserve judgment. But I thought a Kiss cruise 15 years ago was the most ridiculous thing. And it turns out to be one of the freaking best things they ever did, in my opinion.
Because we really don't know. I don't think, unless someone has enough clairvoyance, we don't really know what the avatars are. Like, is it a video game? Is it, you know, everybody's saying, could it be a holographic light show or whatever? And then, well, I'm not going to go pay that. If it was at the movie theater, you'd go, right? Like, who wouldn't? It would be Kiss music really loud that, you know, you're in a theater, nobody can bother you, you get your expensive drink. You know, it's like, I really look at it as if they did, like, now look, again, we're all old. Remember the light shows at the planetarium, right? Yes. Now, I don't think kids understand that today. If you went to the planetarium or the IMAX theater or whatever, and it was giant images of Kiss and lasers and the music is loud, like I always say, look, the louder the music, the quieter the voices in my head are. That's why I listen to everything so loud, is you'd go to that.
You go to that.
So I think, and that's the thing, I think people are jumping to the conclusion, oh, I'm not paying money to meet and greet the avatars. Of course not, dummy. It's different. It's not that, you know, it's just like, it really comes down to, it's, if you want to go, great. It's a chance for us all to get together at some central point that's not Pasquale's apartment. You know, it's one of those things where, like, who knows what it could be. And people, oh, well, they're ruining their legacy. And as you've said, we control what the legacy is. If you still love it, and to the day we're in the ground, you listen to that Kiss music. I said, I was on a radio show the other night, and she says, what's your kind of go-to Kiss song? I said, Detroit Rock City. And I'll tell you why, because when I go out, if I've had the worst day, I go out in my car, and it's almost this mantra. You get in your car, you start, it's CD1 in my CD changer in my car, it never leaves. You start that, you hear him going out the diner. I always imagine Detroit Rock City is leaving from a diner. By the time I go out through the parking lot and make my turn onto the road, the song starts, and I feel better already, because it just, and that's what it's all about. It's what it's always been, you know, is that it's, you know, it's that legal high. It's that thing that you have so many associations with good things. How can it be bad? You know?
Right. Take your mind off your worries. And like you said, I thought of it the other day too, like going back to those times at the Rothman Center and the tribute bands, and just carrying the spirit and the feeling, and maybe something else will happen and we'll all go to that. And like when people used to have Laser Zeppelin, Laser Pink Floyd, people enjoy that. If there's a movie about Kiss, you'd go see that. Why wouldn't you go see this? And another thing is that ABBA, very successful band, they have a very successful thing right now with their avatars, okay? And they use the same people to do theirs. And you know, if they do a show, they're going to do it right, and it'll be fun. You can sit home and not do it if you want and cry. Or you could go out
and it could be 1976. All of a sudden, Kiss could come flying out and looking exactly like it's 1976. Who's not going to love that? We've seen maybe the tip of the iceberg of the avatars. We don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, we don't know what it is.
The Elder concert, they could make any tour concert now, they could do anything now. So think about that. You think that it's not going to be fun?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
You know what I think? I think my mind hasn't stopped either. I think they're going to be at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I do. I think it would be amazing. That's kind of the way to do it over the top, you know. And I mean, I've just seen some of the clips. I'm not a huge YouTube fan, but I've just been looking at a lot of the visuals and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, if you could see Kiss in that Sphere like that, I mean, you know, maybe that's what our golden ticket's for.
You're right on.
We go.
Now, right. You just pissed off a lot of people that didn't get one of those.
I'm out. I'm not going to be going. I'm not going.
I'm not going either.
I had to break the ice. I had to address the elephant in the room.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you so
much. That's
sweetie.
a good point, because imagine if they go to the Sphere. Like, it's funny, and I'm sure you probably all know people in your life that might have said, well, you know that's not going to be the last show. Why are you getting so excited? And you go, I've been saying to my wife for 20 years, this might be the last time I saw him. You know, she laughs at me. It's a joke. But the whole thing is, if they decide tomorrow that they're going to do more shows, great. Like I don't care that you know, that if they like these, some people seem like they want it to end. I don't ever want to end. I want to stay at the party late. I'll probably drink too much, maybe because I'm in New York, and I'll eat too much pizza. You know, that's the whole point, is that at some point you don't want it ever to end. Problems never seem to end. So you want the good stuff to always last. So and I'll see you all at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
So guys, going back to the shows now, we're talking about music and stuff. So you know, Evan Stanley, he opened up for both nights, Friday and Saturday, with Amber Wild. So what are your thoughts, Angel, on the band?
I've been just in the dark, just in the outskirts, following Evan's musical career just through Instagram and stuff like that. And of course, the few times he was on the cruise, and Amber Wild, before it was Amber Wild, I think it was called All Waves. I've always liked the kid. He seems to be really, really serious about music. It doesn't seem like his dad rolled out any red carpets for him, wants him to, you know, kind of see what it's like. I mean, you're not opening at Madison Square Garden right out of the gate, you know? Yeah. And so following him, I noticed that he was just playing with Amber Wild every little small club in LA. I mean, probably, you know, 75 people, 100 people, 200 people, and opening for other LA bands, just taking any open slot, you know, Tuesday, Sunday, it didn't matter. And I thought, you know what, these guys are gearing up for something, you know, because I mean, usually those opening spots don't pay, you know, you're just kind of trying to get some stage time and get used to using some monitors and not just what you have in your garage or your rehearsal room or whatever. And so when it was announced, I was pretty excited for them and stuff. And of course, they weren't on the bill for the 2 shows in New York, but they were touring around. And Evan and the drummer, Thomas, I think his name is, they went on a live. And you know, when you're live, those comments are just floating by so fast, because they are getting, you know, a fan base out there. Yeah. And I did put, hey, I booked 2 venues in California. Will you be touring after, you know, in the new year, and blah, blah, blah. And Evan caught my comment. So he said, yeah, Art by Angel Online. Send me a message to the band page. And I did. And he got back to me. And Anthony, the owner of the theater here and the one in Pittsburgh, we had a phone conversation with him on the phone. Very, very nice young man. And we're hoping to bring him out this way, probably March or so, nice. Which would be great, which would be really, really great. So I love their music. I think they're talented to be able to go out in front of that many people, virtually cold turkey. I mean, the kid's been, you know, like you said, I've been not on the stage looking at you guys. I've been in the audience looking at the stage. So I think they did a great job. And I hope, you know, this momentum for them, it keeps going, because it's a genre that's not super out in the mainstream right now. I don't like
Yeah.
any of the current music that's out there right now. There hasn't been a really good rock band in a long time. And I hope they stick to their roots and they do this. I don't think I don't think he has any intention of filling the boots of his father.
No.
He's smarter than that. And I wish him well. I wish him well. I mean, it's tough not to be focused on who his father is and just be Amber Wild, you know. But they seem to be great. They seem to be talented, and I don't know. Maybe we'll be hosting them here and in Pittsburgh real soon. And
There you go. Or you throw
they're playing tomorrow night in LA, and I was going to get a wild hair and go see my daughter and go, and I'm like, nah, I got so far behind on work. I'm like, yeah, no, that'll be foolish. So I'm going to stay. And I wish them well. I only wish them well. I think, you know, we as Kiss fans, if we can support them in the way that we feel fit. If you're not a fan, of course, then don't. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm going to definitely do my best and see if, you know, because they did a big festival right before they started the tour up in Sacramento. And they did really well up there. So hopefully from the Central Coast, where Salinas is at by Monterey, and Pittsburgh, which is kind of east of the Bay Area, and then up to Sacramento, maybe we can get them a really good fan base going out here. Great. So we'll see what happens. But I'm happy for them. I'm happy for them. I think they really stepped up and took the challenge. So yeah, I'm happy for them.
Mm-hmm. Matt, what's your take?
You know, I think Angel hit it on the head. Is like, I think Evan Stanley is certainly, we pay more attention because it's Paul Stanley's son. But if they weren't good, they wouldn't be there. And I thought their songs are super solid. They clearly are they seem very savvy on stage. Like, they didn't appear nervous at all. They appeared to be, they had great stage presence, and they appear to be very young dudes. And as a very old dude, I really respected the fact that, you know, that they seemed seasoned. They didn't appear nervous. I loved when Evan said, I want to thank my dad for letting us open this, because he knows everyone in the place. Yeah, we know your dad. And then when he said, oh, and Gene and Doc and the crew, and I thought that was really nice. But like that, you know, I wish they really had more songs recorded, because like, I love it if you go see a band that you go out and buy their album, or you already have it. I mean, that's, you know, and again, I want to buy an album. I want to buy the whole thing. I don't want to buy just singles. I wish they had, like, every song that they played, I wish they had recorded, so I had a good copy that I can drive around in my car and listen to. But I thought they were fantastic. You know, lots of energy. It's like you said, I think I don't find too many new bands that I like. So if the hook is, hey, look, it's Paul's son, good, now give me some good music. And they did. You know, if they had sucked, it would have been like, wow, like, gee, I feel bad that Paul's son's band is no good, but they were fantastic. So in a way, it's like you're almost a little worried, like, what if he got there? What if he was like, you know, his guitar's out of tune, he's falling over, we would be embarrassed for him. But they were really enjoyable. And that's the thing. Even they have the other guitar player, which I can't think of his name, but he also sings. So it's that multiple vocals in a band. I love that.
Good melodies,
You know, they sounded great together. All of them sing, I guess, and they sounded fantastic. And I think it's funny because working here at college, in some ways it keeps me a little bit on the pulse of like young kids. I see a lot of young kids. Then they're coming in now, and they're younger than my older daughter, and they're about the same age as my younger daughter. But like, you get that youthful vibe from them. You know what I mean? Like, they looked like young guys playing rock music. Like you said, rock music's not the forefront. You know, if you put on TV, you're not seeing them. They're going to have a struggle, like every other band that's still trying to play rock, to find a commercial audience. Will they find an audience? Absolutely. Will they find a commercial audience? Who knows? Because, you know, rock is not the mainstream. But yeah, so to make a short story really long, I enjoyed them. I thought it was it was a fun way to have an opening band that had some kind of connection. If maybe Cheap Trick wasn't available, that would have been my first choice for opening band. But you know, I thought it was fantastic.
Good, great. Tony, so you're a musician. You play in bands. You're deeply involved. Yeah. So what's your take?
I really enjoyed them. I think he has a good, solid band. I met Evan a couple times as an adult. I met him at Paul Stanley's book signing. He was here, and he's a really nice guy. He was going to school here. He was living here, going to school here for a while. So I'd see him out and around. Always said hello. Very friendly guy. He played at my friend's club here, Bowery Electric, quite often. another band he was in for a while, and I like this band better. And I think they're more solid. They have better songs. I'm glad he got a chance to play, and we got some music. And nothing against David Garibaldi, but I've seen everybody. That's all cool. I was glad there was some live music, and he did a good job. Like you said, Matt, he got his foot in the door, but they were good. And then they played over here again, so I'll continue to go see them, and support them, because what you have to do is support live music. Because
Have to.
stream, like you said, but it doesn't matter. It can still be successful if we make it so. Just go out and see him if they're playing near you. Go check him out, and he's well. You can talk to him. He can play. Even when he was a kid, Paul told me he's a way better guitar player than I am.
He plays really well.
So he's a very good musician. He's talented. He can sing. I saw him do a couple of jumps that harken back to Paul's days, when Paul used to jump around with the boots. And so anyway, I enjoyed it. I'd go see him again too. Good luck.
Great.
Good luck to those guys.
You know what?
Seems like it's a real band. Like it's a
I'm going
band.
to piggyback onto what you just said. He's talented. He seemed, but also now we did meet him backstage. Very humble. Almost golly gee whiz, he almost seemed like he didn't seem jaded. Here's some more of my dad's mouth breathing fans that want to talk to me. He was so nice to us and humble, and you would never thought this young dude just played Madison Square Garden. He was talk to us. And in a way, I always say this, he talked to us like we were actual people. Sometimes you meet these rock stars and they talk to you like you're just one more person that they have to put up with. But he was super nice. And the same with the guitar player. We talked to him, just super nice, down to earth, no star kind of airs. I met people there that are just fans that have more of a star air than that. But it was nice.
There you go.
That's
Mike?
funny.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by just piggybacking off of what Tony was just saying. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody else that was on the stage, but Evan very potentially might have been the best guitarist on stage that night in Madison Square Garden, right? The guy is enormously, and I don't say that because he's Paul Stanley's son, because if he sucked, I would say he sucked. He is a great guitar player with an enormous amount of talent. I didn't know a single song of theirs going in, and I think somewhere around the middle of the set, there's a song, I looked it up afterwards, Three Shakes. I'm like, damn, that is a catchy song. That is a well-written, good hook. So, like one of you guys just said, I think, Matt, you said it, I wish there was an opportunity to download some of this music and buy some of it after the show, If you would have asked me 6 months ago who I wanted to open up the show, I wouldn't have said Cheap Trick. I would have said Bruce Kulick. I would have loved to see that. But I turned to my daughter that night, the first night, and I said to her, how damn cool is this as a father-son that the last time, theoretically, that Paul Stanley is ever going to play Madison Square Garden is the first time his son is playing Madison Square Garden, and that they get that for the rest of their life. They could sit at dinner and say, do you remember the last time I played Garden? Yeah, that was the first time I played the Garden, right? And they could have that conversation. And Matt, you said, that Evan thanked his father during the show, and he's like, you guys know him as Paul. I call him Dad. And I was just like, what? This is just so damn cool. And I was like, I said to my daughter that night, as much as I wish Bruce Kulick to open the show, if I was Paul Stanley, I would have chosen my son every single day of the week, right? It's just from a total father point of view, it makes sense. And to everybody else's point, he delivered. Right. So it would be one thing if he went up on the stage and then didn't deliver, then you'd really be saying, man, I wish it was Cheap Trick or Bruce or anybody else, but he delivered, and the guy's enormously talented. Look, I'm hoping that they could have a lot of success. It's so tough in today's environment, but if they don't have the success, it certainly won't be from a lack of talent. That's for damn sure.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
If you go see them, you might see Paul might show up and play with them some night. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Anyway, even if he doesn't, they're good. It's a good band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Busk?
I saw Evan years ago on Kiss Cruise 4, I believe. He was playing with Tommy Thayer, and I was like blown away by his guitar playing. And Mike, I agree with you. He destroys his dad. He's just incredible. And then he was in a band called The Dives.
The Dives.
And I actually wanted to go try to see him live. It never happened. And I never heard of his music until I saw it live. You could find his stuff on Spotify right now. apparently, and I refused to listen. I want to hear it for the first time, experience it live. And oh my God, I wasn't disappointed. It was incredible. But it was fun watching Evan perform, because I don't know what you guys think, but he was his father's son. You could see some of his dad's moves. You know, Tony, you said that the jump, for example, that's so Paul Stanley, you know, how he plays the guitar, how he moves the guitar, how he swings his body. That's Paul Stanley right there, you know. And for an opening act, he didn't come out in jeans and a sweatshirt. He looked like a rock star.
Yes.
Which was really cool. And I don't know how to explain this, but he's got this sort of charisma that just comes across the entire stadium. It's he's got, when they were introducing the band, he was sort of like staring out, pausing before he spoke, and it's like that look of confidence, but I'm not cocky, you know. And I just loved watching this guy perform. And you know, if we're talking about the future of Kiss, well, this is not Kiss; it's Kiss related. This is definitely a career I want to follow. And Angel, if you get them in your area, like beginning of March, you let me know. It's my March break. Just as,
oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
It's my March break, man. I'm going to California, you know.
Okay.
Because that would be so awesome. But
I will I'll definitely let you know. Yeah, I want it to be successful, you know. And you had mentioned that they need to record more stuff. And the owner of the theater here, Pasquale and Claudia have met him. He's a musician, and there's a studio here. And he told him, you know, why don't you come up on a Monday or Tuesday? You can rehearse here all week. You can record some tracks down in the studio, perform here in Salinas on Friday, put you up, and then we'll take you up to Pittsburgh. We have, you know, a lot of radio connections with the rock stations and all the stuff around here, and try to pump up these shows. And he was just like blown away. And he kind of said like, well, why? And Anthony said, this lady's like, you know, she's a diehard fan of the band. And he toured as a band up in Canada years ago. And he said, I wish someone would have done that for us, you know. And we have, I'm like, it's right now, it's empty. Why couldn't a band be here rehearsing tonight, you know? And we've done it for other bands as well, so why not? You know, it's nice to put forward and give it forward, especially to some band like that really just, the momentum's got to keep going. And if they could to rehearse without having to pay the high fees for a rehearsal hall, and get some songs solid for live performances, and get a bigger and longer set and stuff, I think they might take us up on it. So we'll see what happens, and I'll let you know for sure.
Good,
cool.
good stuff.
Claudia, how about you?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as Mike. At the beginning, when it was announced that Kiss was shutting down with Madison, I wanted to see Bruce Kulick opening for them. I think most of many Kiss fans, they wanted that. And then I remember we actually even talked in one of the episodes having Paul's son Amber Wild opening up for them, and I wasn't really into it. I didn't think it was the right thing, but God, I was wrong. I loved it. So every minute of it, the music was great. The stage persona, as you guys said, you said it all. So a nice charisma and charm, a good presence there on stage. But I loved, the humbleness of the guy. When he was saying, my dad, thanks Gene, Doc, what Matt was mentioning, that it always transpired, even when I met him in the cruise and everything. He's so humble, and that's what I love. And I hope that he keeps being that. I'm sure he will, because you can tell that he's that kind of guy. And hoping the best. I think the band is great. The drummer is awesome. All of the other guys, they play so well. A lot of energy and good rock. So really good rock. So so all the best of luck for them.
Claudia, I love, the last night they had like all the kids sitting on stage and they were doing an interview, and they asked Nick Simmons, hey, what do you think of Evan's band? And Nick was like, I am so thankful I don't have to lie right now and say that he's great when he's not. He's like, and I just thought that was such a funny moment. He's like, thank God the kid is so talented and the band is so good, because I wouldn't want to have to lie, but I'm not lying. I just thought that was like such a cool moment that night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he's really talented. That guy, he plays so well. Awesome.
Yeah, that pre-show before the concert was really cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
having the Kiss kids there, that was so amazing to watch and to listen to.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Man, and you know, a tribute to Paul and Gene. They raised such down to earth, good kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was nice to see. So you
And
know,
I even love that they brought Tommy Thayer's daughter out.
yeah,
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, that was
years
something.
ago, and they seem to embrace her as "quote unquote" part of the family. Also, I just thought it was such a cool moment.
Yeah, that was touching. That was really touching. So you know, hey, listen, we've been here for almost 2 hours already. For God's sakes,
Yeah.
and you know, it just goes to show so much happened in New York. We didn't even get to the show yet.
Exactly.
You know, so here we are, the last 2 shows ever, end of the road. What are your thoughts about the final 2 shows in New York, Matt?
You know what? We kind of touched on it a little bit. I think in a way, the reason why it was fun to talk about all the extra stuff is because that was maybe a little more unique. I feel like the show, it's what I expected. They played it pretty safe. They played it pretty by the numbers. They did all songs you'd expect. Kiss isn't a bar band that's going to go out and jam on some song. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to go by the numbers. They got the pyro, the lights. They're not going to get up there and screw around, you know, and I think, I mean, obviously, I guess it almost goes without saying, I thought they sounded fantastic. So that's no surprise. They sounded really on point. I think what everybody, I think, was coming away from it, what didn't they do that I wanted? And the one thing that I really wanted, and this was, I really felt hopeful about it, I really wanted Peter Criss to sing Beth at the end. And I thought to myself, it's the one thing that is really possible, because he could rehearse it to a track. They don't got to do anything with him. It's him by himself. Imagine the pop if, when that piano had come up, Peter Criss was sitting on it.
I was
right?
thinking the same thing, man.
Everybody would have lost their collective marbles.
Yeah.
Ace, unfortunately, I feel like Ace with the whole Eddie Trunk thing, where he's saying, well, if they give me $500,000 and I'm going to say secrets about Paul and things like that. As soon as that hit, and that's earlier this year, you go, well, he's not going to be there. He's not going to be involved.
Yeah.
Because they're going all the same problems, which is why we don't work with them. There it is again. And everybody loves Ace. You know, I love seeing Ace in these solo shows. I'll buy the new album when it comes out. But maybe, you know, there's times where you just say, maybe just think before you open your mouth. You know, I didn't expect. I mean, look, would it have been fun if every living guitarist came out and they all did a solo on Rock and Roll Night and things like that? Yeah, it would have been great. But they're not going to do it. And the other thing is, it's pay-per-view. You can't get up there and screw around. Like, that's a live stream that probably, you know, there's a certain amount of timing and production, and you can't just say, well, I can't get my guitar to plug in. I mean, you know, it's just, I don't know. Like, so I'm going to make it kind of short, I think, it's what I really wanted. They sounded phenomenal. It's the show that I expected. Could they have, you know, there's something you always want to hear. Can we hear Lover All I Can? I'd love that. Could we hear something great? It would be great. But they did the show they wanted. And I feel like sometimes as a fan, you know, oh, I'm not happy if I didn't get to hear The Oath or something. You know what? They're going to do the show they want. And I loved it. And so really it almost goes without saying, it was fun. I saw it both nights. You know, I think all of you did, was, you know, I saw it from farther back one night and very close the next night, and it gives you a little different perspective. You have a little bit of a different feeling. You get a little bit more visual of this or that. If you watch the pay-per-view, you can see my head a couple times. And it's funny because it's one of those things where, you know, and that's what I said at the start, was where Paul says, have you had a good time? Absolutely. And that's really all I was there for. So
Nice.
So let me ask you a quick one, Matt. So with all the anticipation, you never thought that they were going to play at least one different song? You knew exactly that was going to be.
You know what? I mean, nobody can say. I don't want to be the one that says I knew they were going to do the exact same thing, because I think people want to punch you in the face if you say stuff like that. But I feel like, I mean, look, we've all seen them over the last how many years that the end of the road, and it was a pretty similar show every time. Right. And it just comes down to, I think at this point, they were doing it because, and I mean, it's the same cliches. It might be your 67th show, but it's somebody's first show. you're not going to screw around. You're going to do the show. And I think, and that's what they've always said as well. Like, it's because of the pyro, we have it timed out, but that's kind of fun. Like, when in a certain song, you're going to get boom, 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 like, it's coming. Right. And it's just like, I think I didn't go in with the expectation of, if they don't do It's My Life, I'm going to be pissed. And you go, they're not going to do It's My Life, right? Mm-hmm. So I've really kind of felt, like I said, I really did want Peter Criss, because like even you think of the Tom Snyder, Peter said this is the garden, and you go, I really wished for him, and really for me, that I would have thought that would have been tremendous. And like I said, they wouldn't have to rehearse with him, because he knows the song. They could have sent him the track for a year. He could have been practicing every night. But imagine if he had come riding up on that piano and they say, Peter Criss. Oh my God, it would have shaken the place to the ground. Mm-hmm. So loved it. Like Pasquale was saying, an 8 and a 10 and all that. I'm still giving it a 10. Mm-hmm. But it's one bite, everybody knows the rules. I'm going 10, but could we second guess it? Sure, of course, but I'm not gonna.
Okay, cool. So, Mike, did you have a good time?
No, not at all. No, one of the things that was important to me beforehand when the tickets went on sale is I said to my friends, I didn't want to sit too close to the stage. I wanted to actually sit higher up in the crowd. And I wanted to, and I did this a few times both nights, just take it all in. So I remember even the second night when they were doing Shout Out Loud, a song I've seen them do, 80 times in concert, and God knows how many other times on audio and video I've watched and listened, right? But I'm just looking around at the crowd, and everybody got their arms up in the air, singing along. And I'm like, and I literally started getting chills just watching that, even though it's a song I've heard a bazillion times. I actually went in, Matt, with zero expectation of them changing the set list. I'm probably in the minority. I love that they play Say Yeah. I think it's a great live song. It's probably one of the most exciting songs both nights for me. I'm freaking singing along. I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I'm the only one that's singing along, but hey, that's cool. I love it. I did jokingly say, especially the second night, Paul was saying a lot of times, I got a question for you. When I turned to my daughter, I'm like, do you mind if I play Strutter right now? That's what I followed up. But I didn't really believe it. But that's what every time he said, I have a question for you, I followed up with, do you mind if I play Strutter right now? Of course, I wish they played that, because to me, that's like the quintessential Kiss song, first album. I think it's a travesty it's not in the set list, but I didn't expect it. I did not expect Ace or Peter to be there, at the shows. I'm heartbroken for Bruce that he's not there. I think Bruce, if you read between the lines, he seems like he's hurt that he was not at least invited, even if it was just to sit on the couch and answer questions beforehand, the same way Desmond Child did, right? Yeah. I think Bruce just felt a little slighted. My opinion, Bruce might see this and say, Mike, you're off your rocker. I was not slighted at all. But I just felt he felt a little slighted. And as a fan, I wanted him to be there. Now, I'm a big fan of the band Kix, K-I-X, right? Mm-hmm. And they just did their final show in September. And I was at that. And they had every single member except for their original bass player at the show. The original guitarist came out. They opened up with a song they've never done in a while. For a while, the last song, every single member was on stage. It's what every Kiss fan wanted, right? And I was like, this is cool. But I did not expect that from Kiss. And I don't know if it's just that I've lowered the bar too much. I don't know what it is. The only thing I'll say that I expected and I didn't get from the show is I expected Paul on that last night, at least once, not to talk on script and to be like, thank you, Ace. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, and just thank every single person that's ever played.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah. I was stunned that he did not do that. And then to just walk off stage in a cloud of smoke and you don't even see them. Yeah. That kind of left a little bit, I'll be honest, a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. It doesn't mean I didn't fully enjoy the 2 days and everything leading up to it and everything, but I just sat back and having just seen the Kix show 2 months prior and seeing how perfect they got it. I mean, they stood on stage for 10 minutes after the concert, thanking everybody who worked for them. It was just such a classy thing. And then Kiss went the exact opposite route. I left a little disappointed that they didn't, they didn't have to do it at the end, but after Beth, when they're walking back and forth, what did it take for Paul to take a minute at that microphone and just thank everybody who's been in the band? I'm a little disappointed that Paul didn't do that. It doesn't, so you were saying a 10 and an 8, maybe it drops it a little bit for me, in terms of just the overall. But everything else, I had no expectation for different songs, no expectation for different band members to appear. but I did have that expectation that Paul would have just spoke from the heart at least once. But it still was a great time. It was still great 3 freaking days. I wouldn't change anything that I did. I just wish Paul did that for 1 minute and I would have felt much better.
Oh, don't get me started. All right.
Sorry, Bast. We're supposed to be making you feel better, not worse. I'm sorry. I failed. Get my butt the show.
No. Never. Tony, how about you?
Okay. Like Mike, I was at the final kick show as well. And
awesome.
I ran into Bobby Dreyer there as well. And I felt that they did it great. That was really wonderful night. Respectful of everyone who's ever been in it. Regardless of the differences they had, they got up.
Even a guitarist that's on one album. I've heard that story in Kissland before.
But over the summer, I ran into Peter Criss at a show, okay, and talked to him for quite a while, and he was in really good spirits. He'd been playing again a little bit, as you saw, and anyway, so I had hoped maybe he would come out and sing Beth too, but anyway, I also had hoped maybe anyone who's still alive might be there, at least in the audience, and they can put the spotlight on him and say, hey, whatever differences we had, we're men, and they played it like a man on stage, and whatever the case may be, like as a human being, these guys were part of what we did. Okay, that didn't happen, whatever. And I didn't expect any different songs whatsoever. I didn't expect much different in the show because that's how they do a professional show. They just do it. And they because you do something different, you kind of risk getting hurt, to be quite honest, sometimes. But anyway, I also sat back far because this might sound weird, but I wanted to watch the audience as much as the band because the Kiss audience is like the band, like they say. So that's a big reflection of what's going on. And I think the ultimate thing that they did a couple of years ago, I was invited to Queen, the band Queen was here to play Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, and Brian and Roger were here at a theater, and I was going to head to that theater until somebody called me and said, you are invited to iHeartRadio press conference with Kiss. And okay, sorry. And I went down to the press conference and they asked us, where should we do our last show? And everybody there said, are you kidding? Of course you got to be in New York. Ramones did their last shows in LA. I never forgave them for that. So, and anyway, but Kiss is a New York band and you got to do it in New York. We suggested a free show in Central Park. So somebody was, sticking up for everybody, just so you know, and we put it in their ear, and at least they did. Look, they did it in New York. They did it big in New York, okay? It was a big week, and it was more than the show. It's more than about them. It is about the fans. It is about the city they came from. So I was happy. I enjoyed myself. I wasn't disappointed or trying to be like whining about everything. And I didn't know we were supposed to get this golden ticket. I didn't get it. I don't even know about it. Whatever, Look, I think Kiss. I saw Kiss at the Academy of Music, 1973, New Year's Eve. The first show they had their lighted sign. I saw Kiss all throughout the years with every lineup. I saw a full show with Mark St. John. I saw all this stuff, right? I've met every single person who's been in the band, whatever. I've seen him in John Bovedos playing in the Suits, whatever. Look, it's all part of the experience. I enjoyed all of it. I'm proud to say I'm a Kiss fan. I'm proud they're from New York, and they involve the city and the fans, which are a bigger thing than them, and they realize the band is bigger than them. So I'll give them credit for that. And that's something Bill Aucoin and Sean Delaney and those guys put in them. And no one even talks about Sean Delaney hardly anymore, or Carol Rock, these other people. But these people were important. And I've written in a few books about Kiss, and I will continue to write about them, that there was a lot of bands in New York at the time when Kiss came out that were all potential stars. The Magic Tramps, the New York Dolls, this one, that one. And Kiss went to the Brats, all these bands. And Kiss took the best of every band and put it in their show. And they had a support system right away of Bill and Sean and all these people and people behind them. And they've always had people behind them. And I think at this point, they got to realize you can't please everybody. But and another point is they don't have to be doing any of this. They can just sit on their ass at home and have fun, smoke a cigar and eat cookies or whatever they want to do. But they came here and they put on the stuff again for us and they played. So my respect goes out to them. They did it for 50 years. So very good. If they never do it again, I enjoyed the time they did and I'll always remember it.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Nice.
And we met
Yeah,
made friends, all made friends.
exactly.
That's not going to end. And we'll see these guys again one way or another. And people will still complain. No matter what.
Yeah.
They're going to complain, but we got people like you guys and Matt who keep it on the upbeat. And, there you go. So take from it what you want.
They
Well
just
said.
want to relax, like you said, eat cookies and $50 pizza.
Hey, hey, hey.
I can eat quite a few $50 pizzas.
Oh, yeah. Well worth it.
Spent.
All right. How about you, Angel?
I had a great time. I had a great time. I can't say anything else other than I had a great time.
Great.
It was a life-changing experience for me with your guys' beautiful city, the hospitality. It's not just the sounds, it's the smells, it's everything. It's New York, and to know that's where it came from, that's where they're ending it. I loved it. I'm good smells, bad smells. They're all smells, But I mean, it was, I would look at my daughter like, what's that? She just keep walking, I mean, I never smelled so much weed in my life if I wasn't at a concert, I was like, what the heck? It was the whole experience, you guys. It really was for me. And, my daughter, she's in the industry in LA, and I think Pasquale and Claudio heard her say, it's not going to be any different. Maybe a different ending of some sort. But when she said Friday is a dress rehearsal for Saturday, for the production, the recording, the pay-per-view, and it was a very, very similar everything.
Yeah.
Talking, everything. And yeah, maybe something a little bit more personal at the very end, acknowledging all the members along the way, even in a video form, maybe something we hadn't seen, some old footage, it would have been nice. It would have been nice. And it didn't happen. I don't think I was like mad or upset. It would have added to that just a little
Yes.
tiny bit that would have put it, the cherry on top. But
Well
the whole
said,
ice cream
Angel.
sundae
Yes,
was
well
there.
said.
Yeah, the whole ice cream sundae was there with the sprinkles and the chocolate sauce and the whipped cream and everything else. So why complain?
And I devoured it.
Yeah. I don't like maraschino cherries anyway. So, maybe, I think they really just wanted to not lose it on that stage. I mean, they're full-grown men. We've known them as our superstars, our rock stars, our heroes. We look up to them. And, let them cry like babies or have their emotional moment with their families backstage or with close friends or whatever. And not in front of their kids in the front row, I mean, I just think about that. My kids have rarely ever seen me cry for emotion or anything. It's just, I've been a single mom most of my life. And it's just, I don't let them see me do that. I just don't. So, I mean, it might've took a lot from them to keep that inside, because you heard a quiver here and there, which made me feel good. And that's it. I mean, no. So I got the whole ice cream sundae, everything, all the toppings minus the cherry. So I'm okay. Okay. I loved it.
Nice.
I loved it.
Cool.
I did see in the tour book they had every tour, so
Yes.
everybody's in
yes.
there. And I did see during the show the KISS logo inside it with every member going through at different times.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did see that, and that's almost more than I thought I would see, to be honest.
Really? Yeah. That was cool. That
Good
was
point.
cool.
Good point. Claudio, how about you? What do you think?
Well, this is a tough one.
Tell me about it.
Let me say. No, I think we all know that they have a product that it's about perfection. Okay, production and everything. This is the same show that we've seen in Montreal, in Quebec, everywhere. That all of us that we've been seeing for the longest time, and it works great. So for let's say casual fans or first timers, it's Vegas. That's what you want to see, and this is what these guys delivered. In the last two shows. Was I expecting that? Well, I'm with Matt on this one. I thought that they were gonna kind of respect the rules and follow the script, but not so strict. You know what I mean? I thought that that Paul maybe or Gene, they were gonna loosen up a bit, say a couple of things, and but I remember after Friday when we saw that it was the exact same set list and everything, I kind of lowered my expectations for Saturday because I didn't want to crash, and again, I'm with Matt on this one. I was dreaming that that last time that the piano was going up, I thought that Peter was gonna come up, man. But okay, didn't happen. And I also think that people that were watching the pay-per-view that actually they pay too much attention to Paul and Gene. They were saying that even Paul and Gene, they were having issues dealing with the last show. God only knows what was going through those guys, inside. 50 years, Madison Square Garden, and they're human beings, even though, sometimes, people say that they're machines. So these guys, God only knows what was going through their hearts and their heads. So, and at the same time, they got to be professional. Go ahead.
I think a kidney stone was going through Gene, he was saying.
Yeah, the kidney stone.
But did you guys see, somebody had a video from the last night, right before Do You Love Me? And as Paul's introducing the song, Gene's eyes are filled with tears,
Yeah.
And, I was saying to somebody, and I just gave my opinion of what I wish I had, and that's that 1 minute of Paul just talking. But I was talking about that with a friend the other day, and I said, we all assume Paul didn't do that because he didn't want to. Maybe he couldn't.
Yeah,
I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what his mind. None of us know what he was thinking that night. Maybe he was afraid that he would just break down, and he couldn't. He said, "I'm just going to go through the motions." Who knows? We'll never know. I can say what I wish I had.
Exactly.
But we don't know what's in their heart.
Exactly. And just to wrap it up, I think that they wanted to do it perfect. I'm with Mike on this one. I had hoped that maybe they didn't go with this huge smoke at the end. I would have loved to see the guys at least to the front stage, or maybe Paul and Gene, and maybe a little step back from Tommy and Eric, just to let these guys soak in the audience with a big bow there for them for all that they gave us. And it's hard for me not to kind of mix the end of the show with the Avatar thing. And I'm not going to go into the details on the Avatar thing because, that's not the point. But I think that maybe even if they had done the Avatar thing at the end, if they had put a video montage or a photo, stuff, 3-4 minutes on the big screens, they could have had the whole Madison Square Garden crying. But on the other side, I think that maybe they didn't want to do that. Maybe they wanted to kind of emotionally control the show and then, sell you the stuff of what's coming. Maybe that was intentional. I don't know. But I would have loved to see a little bit of a recognition to all of the members. But again, it's interesting because the should-haves and good-haves, it doesn't apply anymore. So the show it's done. To me, just to summarize, they were 2 great shows, but they were not 2 great final shows.
I'm going to just jump in real quick. The funny thing is what they should have done at the end. All viewers of your show know they should have played that song "One Last Kiss."
Oh, yes.
Right, with a video montage.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm going to say, as far as, and a couple of you have all said it, as far as like thanking former members, I think the problem is it's the Academy Award problem. If I start saying people's name, I'm going to miss somebody. And if they say, okay, Ace, Peter, Mark, Vinny, Bruce, Now you got to thank Bill. You got to thank
Bill
Sean.
O'Coin, Sean
How about
Denham.
we got to have Ken Kelly because he painted images that we're going to love forever. I can't even say the name of the guy. Tony, maybe you could say it. The name of the guy that painted the solo album covers. That were, how many people have that tattooed on them? Those solo album covers are so iconic.
Yeah,
where do you cut the list off? Because and we know those names, but it could end up being like the credits at the end of a movie.
Yeah,
because
Matt, you left off Doc McGee.
Well, you got to have Doc. You got to have, and like right there, I'm now in trouble because I didn't say his name.
That's why I just did that to you.
And that's the funny thing. I think there's so many people. Bob Ezrin, like if Bob Ezrin doesn't kind of flip around Beth and turn that song into the version that we know that made them like international superstars. Who do you decide who to thank? And I think at the end of it there, they wanted a slick, clean ending. They didn't want, who let the dogs out? We don't even know. But it's one of those things where, I think you probably run into that a little bit trepidation of saying, I don't, because now you got to thank your wife. You got to thank your kids because if, you know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
We might have still been sitting in the garden if they did all that.
We might still be there. It would have been a day and a half, and you get into, I think wanted to do it clean because otherwise as soon as you start that list, you're forgetting somebody and somebody's feeling slighted. And, and I think that was more my thought was I don't want to see Paul up there blubbering. Like Gene actually, now it's funny because as I said before we had good tickets, I was right next to Nick and Sophie. And as Paul was saying that thing about, when we played here and my mom and dad sat there, Gene's mom sat there, Gene looked over at his kids and he had tears in his eyes. And he looked really moved by the fact that his kids are right. And they kept yelling, Daddo, Daddo. And they were totally like razzing him almost. But you could tell in I'm saying because I'm watching him, he looked absolutely moved that his kids were enjoying him from right there.
Wow.
And that's the kind of emotion that I was looking for. Like, because at the end, look, we could say what we want. We don't really know them. When he looks down and he sees his children, same with Paul, has got to be proud. There's his kid, as we said earlier, talented, humble, a great, that I think there's where the emotion is. They're looking out and they're saying, if at the end of your life, if my kids are proud of what I've done,
that's it. Yeah.
That's all that they need. They don't need our validation. They have all of our money.
They have all money.
And that's, but I think they're human like everybody else that you look at and you think to yourself, I've done something in my life by making all these people happy. And I have these nice kids staring back at me. That's the vibe that I got. And I'm just some mouth breather standing there. His kids were right next to me. And they're yelling, Dad, we're so proud of you. And that has to mean a lot. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring the house down there.
No, you guys made excellent points, and from 5 different perspectives, literally different perspectives, because you guys are sitting at different points at the arena and you saw different things. And here we are talking about it and putting it all together, and it makes a lot more sense than what I saw and what I experienced and what I took from the show, especially on the last one. Now, listen, I saw the End of the Road, 13 times now. I know it's the exact same show. And for me, the final show was Montreal, in my city, with the people in my city. And for me, that was the end. I was expecting something different. I don't know what, but something different in New York. And especially the way they built it up. It's going to be something unique. But I didn't believe Ace and Peter were going to be there. I didn't believe there'd be a different set list. I just thought they would do something different. And then on the Friday night, when it was the exact same show as everything else in New York, in Madison Square Garden, scripted exactly, Claudio, you were there. Yeah. I was so disappointed. And Claudio had to basically talk me down or talk me up because I was crashing. I was crashing, I know it was tough. I'm sorry, and Claudio told me, past tomorrow night, it might be the same show. Chances are it will be the same show, but it's going to be your last, and enjoy it to the absolute fullest, because it's never going to happen again. And I want us to do something. I want us to go crazy during Say Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, we rocked. We rocked
did
it.
it.
Yeah, man. People looking at us like these guys are nuts.
I love it.
We
It
jumped
was
up and
us
down.
and Mike. Us
Yes.
and Mike.
That's right. It's just the
Yes,
four of us.
we jumped
Exactly.
up and down. We screamed. We sang. We danced. It was incredible. But
Pass, can I ask you a question?
yeah,
This weekend, was that the first time you saw Kiss at the Garden?
yes,
Oh,
that was
wow.
a bucket list. That was a
Okay.
bucket list. And my favorite city in the world, seeing Kiss at the Garden, you know, everybody from around the world coming to one place to gather to see Kiss. It was a mind-numbing experience. But that's the problem, because during the day, it was such a build-up to the show. And then we see the exact same thing that we saw in other shows in other cities. It's like, what the hell is this? And
Well,
I was
maybe
so
that's why you and I have a
disappointed.
different point of view, because I mean, I've seen Kiss at the Garden. I don't know. I think I've seen every Garden show except for one that they've done, right?
Right.
And honestly, it's never been different.
No,
Right.
but this is, yes.
So why did I think this would be any
It is
different?
true.
Because it's the final shows. It's the final two shows. Why are people paying $10,000 for the front row? You know?
Well, another point to make is that these guys now are they're barely getting through the show. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I get
They
it.
have
I get it.
They have to give all they can, especially Paul with his voice, to even get through it. And they're probably really nervous, trying to hold in emotion, and you can't let it start going, because then it's just and they just got to do the show. So I think the thing is to just be professional, is just to do it like how they always do it, and remove themselves from it. And the emotion is like later. With their family.
I get all that. I get all that. And you know what happened during the pre-show at the second night was the announcer, the person that was interviewing everybody, was saying something big is coming at the end. The fans are going to love it. Going, oh, what could this be, right? So the entire show, that's what I was focusing on, because I believed Claudio. It's gonna be the same show, and it was word for freaking word. It's okay. It's okay. But after a point, it's like, okay, it's like, all right, I'm done. I just want to hear it. I just want to see what happens at the end. So Rock and Roll All Night comes. And I'm by the way, I'm waiting for all this pyro, apparently. $1 million plus pyro spent on pyro. Where? Okay, whatever. So
No, that was the bracelets that were $1 million.
That was the bracelets, exactly.
None of us brought up the bracelets, I noticed.
Yeah.
As we're talking.
Yeah.
Not single one of us.
So, okay. So Rock and Roll Over is done. The lights go out. The screen goes on. I go, Claudio, oh my God, here we go. And it's a freaking commercial for avatars. Are you kidding me? That's how they're going to say their goodbyes? By giving us a commercial? How cold, how impersonal can you possibly be? And I understand.
How Kiss?
Oh,
Like they're selling us the new products right away.
But come on, listen. I'm not against. I see all the controversy online about the avatars. I don't care. You want to do it, go ahead. You don't want to do it, go ahead. They could have done the show and posted a teaser a few days later, because people are going to wonder what happens next. They post a teaser, a little while later they announce the avatars, or post a teaser before the show. A few weeks after the show, announce the avatars. Don't do it during the show. I found it so insulting.
The most people say to me it was creepy.
Oh, seeing the yeah. So I told Claudia in the car on the way back, and you guys touched on this already. Why? Listen, if they took the time to put a video up on a bunch of avatars, why couldn't they put a video up of their 50 years? Thank their fans, thank everybody that put them there through this video. Take one final bow and leave. And I don't understand how this whole idea of Peter and Ace to be there. I don't think they were even asked, because because where would you put them? And this thing was planned a long time ago. And where would you put Peter and Ace? There's no place for them if they're going to advertise for these avatars. And then with the argument that they don't want to be emotional on stage. Of course not, because in their minds this was over months ago when they were planning for this thing. And Paul could have said a few words of thank you, something at the end. No, he basically gives us a slogan that brings us into this commercial. Oh, I'm sorry. I was so.
We were talking about the Q&A before the show. Did you catch what Nick Simmons said when they were doing the? So they asked each of the kids, what do you think about this being the final show? And Nick Simmons said, I thought the final show was in 1999.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, wow. I'm like, I can't believe he just said that.
So I guess it's my fault because my expectations were way too high. Not for the same reasons most people have it. Because, I said different songs, no, it's about connections. And again, what's important to me is the connections I make to the fans, to the Kiss Army, to my friends. And I've always said, this final show, man, I am going to cry like a baby. And I didn't, because that connection was not there. And it's like, how dare you put on a commercial? And that's how you end your 50-year legacy, through a damn commercial. Man, I was upset. And I was upset that I didn't cry. I was upset that I didn't have any feelings. Is that weird?
I felt like the avatars were the after the credits thing in a Marvel movie.
Right.
It's just kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really even care about the Avatar thing. It came up. I didn't really give it a second thought. To me, we had just seen a great show, really, as they finished Rock and Roll All Night. It's the dream of everybody since you're a little kid staring at the inside cover of Alive 2. You want to be in that confetti storm.
Yeah.
And and it's funny because everybody, they're going to cry. I was so joyful at that moment where you forget all the crap in your life, and you're 8 years old, you're 10 years old. Anything that can take me back to that feeling. It's why I still listen to the same music from when I'm 8 years old. You want to just feel better. Standing there in that confetti, watching it come down, watching people gleefully swat at the confetti. That's all I needed. When the lights came up and here's the avatars, you go, I don't know what it is. I don't really care. It is what it is. We'll get whatever it is. And I think that's really at the end of it. That was really like, as they walk off the stage, that's the end for me.
And Matt, I have to say, I agree with you 1,000%. We all knew what the set list was going to be as it was progressing.
Yeah.
And the last 5 songs, I started counting down 5 more songs, 4 more songs. And they get to Rock and Roll All Night. I'm like, this is it. And I kept saying that to my daughter and my friend that was with me. I was like, I was counting down those songs. Once Rock and Roll All Night ended, whatever was happening was immaterial to me. It really didn't matter in that moment. I might wish they did it a little bit different, but it didn't matter because I just was counting down that last 20 minutes. Like, this is it. This is the last 5 songs, 4 songs. When Black Diamond was over, I'm like, my brother turned to me and he's like, my daughter turned to me and she goes, that's the last, set you're ever going to hear from Kiss. All that's left are the encores, right? And that is all that mattered to me. And it was in some ways, it was almost comforting to know what the songs were going to be, because I was mentally preparing for it. So during that whole last 20 minutes, last half hour, whatever it was, the avatars is like, I'll be honest, in that moment, I didn't even fully understand what I was watching because it didn't matter.
Yeah, that was confusing.
It didn't matter. Right.
It didn't matter.
That was confusing.
I thought I was watching a Psycho Circus commercial of some sort from 1998, and I didn't know, and I didn't care. And I was like, well, they're playing, these avatars are playing "God Gave Rock and Roll to You," which is always the last song of the night when the show is over. I just thought they were showing me a cartoon during that song. I didn't think, and it was only about a minute and a half into it that I noticed that there was these screens in the middle of the crowd in the garden. I was like, is there something more to this that I'm supposed to be understanding? But it didn't, in that moment, it didn't matter to me because I was like, it was all just about the show. As I look back on it, 48 hours later, I'm like, oh yeah, this, that, and the other thing. But in that moment, it was just like thinking about those 3 days, thinking about going to the pop-up store, thinking about all the pictures I took with friends, the fact that I was not going to see Kiss anymore. Possibly, I feel bad that you felt maybe a little cheated, but in that moment, I was just smiling ear to ear saying, I just had freaking great 2 days. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't matter. It was freaking great.
In my case, for the last show, actually, the show itself, I went in with the expectation saying, this is the show that I will always remember forever and ever. Okay. Yeah. And now what I think is going to happen with time is that I will forget about the show, but I will not forget about the weekend in New York. Yes. That's what's going to happen to me.
Yep. Yeah. I said to a friend of mine that day, I said, look, my least favorite Kiss song is Boomerang, and they can do that 20 times in a row tonight, and I'm going to have the best time of my life.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Good point.
This is it. For the 20th time, we're going to play Boomerang tonight. I'd be like, yeah!
Now that would have been unique.
Oh, yeah. You want something different? There you go.
There you go.
You know what? It's funny. I'm just going to say, Pasquale, you're thinking like at the end of you didn't really feel emotion. When Rock and Roll Night was on, I was just more ecstatic. Really, and of course, nobody wants to necessarily necessarily admit it. The first night when Gene started spitting blood, that's where I started crying, because to me, that's always been so powerful. And you say, it's this monster spitting blood. But I don't know, to me, that's the one part of the show where I lose my marbles is when and is it the same thing every time? When he starts doing that thing where it's almost like he's a bat and he starts to cover up and the bell starts going. I love that. And when he starts with the blood, that's my favorite thing, really. And that was the part that really just ripped into my chest. It was where you're just like, because I just love it. And I think in some ways, because you look at Gene and you say, Gene has always let me feel powerful. And in that moment, that's always what I feel. So,
you know, for me, I think the most powerful moment was the introduction. All right, New York City. I mean, that's where I've seen Kiss the most, right? Is in New York. And, you know, you wanted the best. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to hear these words again. And the curtain drops and they start coming down from the rafters. And I was just soaking that all in, saying, this is why I'm a friggin' Kiss fan. This is what it's all about. And just listening to that intro, like even right now, I'm just getting goosebumps talking about that. You know, that to me, that moment is actually a moment, no matter, I don't care what the set list was, whatever, I will never forget that moment, the last time that curtain fell down and they were coming down from the rafters. I'll never forget it.
But even if you want an armchair quarterback on that, they should have had J.R. Smalling's voice do it. They should have had a track, right? I mean, that's where if you start to go in pinpoint by pinpoint, wouldn't that have been something, you know? And you could say, well, that would have been the real icing on the cake, is if you heard J.R.'s voice. So little things like that, I think, in a way, and I'm wrap up because then I know we're talking for 3 hours. Because people, we love you. We went 3 hours, but the funny thing is that, like, you could always do different things, but at some point, where do you just say, look, we just have to do our show? You know, would I have loved that? You hear JR's voice. Yeah, it would be great. But, you know, sometimes I think, and this is something I've thought for a long time, is I think sometimes we care more about that little minute stuff than maybe they do. You know, like that there's so many things that I'm just some jabroni that lives out here in the suburbs who's obsessed with it. Maybe they're not, you know, maybe they don't think about stuff like that.
That's
exactly
they
have exciting lives. I don't.
This is exactly what I was telling Pasc on our way back, because we were doing therapy for 7 hours driving.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I told him, so we're too romantic, man, with these guys. You know, we think of all the emotional thing that they have to do the job. You know, they have to deliver, and that's it. You know, when it doesn't matter if it's a final show or not. For them, it doesn't matter.
Yes, Pasquale. I thought they could have waited another day to play that ad. They wouldn't. But also, I agree. Most people don't even know what was going on, and nobody still knows what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I agree that when the curtain, right before the curtain drops, that apprehension, that anticipation is like electrifying every time. And Matt, when Gene does the blood, I can send you a clip. I filmed of that, and he did a really good job that time, the first night for sure, and and all that stuff. But you know, I think just the main feeling, we were all there. It was in New York. They made a big thing of it. Great. Some things could be different, but it happened here at least. They didn't go do it somewhere else, and I'm glad they did it here. And we'll see what happens next. Who knows? But we'll find out when it happens, I guess.
We'll find out.
How much airfare would it have been if they did the last show in Guam? I mean, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying?
So, you know, on that comment, Tony, I think it's a great time to close the curtain on this episode. Yeah. But I want to thank Angel, Mike, Tony, Matt for bringing this weekend full circle, because for me, this episode, recording this episode with all of you, is the ending to this incredible weekend. And it was an honor to spend this ending of this incredible weekend with all of you. And I also want to thank each and every one of you, especially you, Claudia, with that therapy session in the car, you know, for working through these emotions and looking at it from different perspectives. That's something I teach my kids, my students, that you're looking at an argument, a discussion about something, to understand it fully, you have to stop and reflect and look at it from different perspectives, not just your own. And that's exactly what happened here. And Claudia also said, Pasquale, before you say anything, before you post anything, stop, calm down, and listen to different perspectives before you make up a conclusion. And I've come up with a conclusion. Excuse my language. I had one hell of a fucking great time.
All right.
So thank you very much, everybody.
Just before we wrap up, let me echo Pasca. For all of you guys, Tony, it's been amazing, man, to see you, to get to know you, and walk the streets of New York with you. And I can't wait to come back. Matt, again, having the chance to meet you there, it was a hell of an experience, and I can't wait that happens again. Angel, what a beauty to see you again. It's been great, and get to know you, your daughter too. That was fantastic. And Mike, even though we didn't have a lot of time there to spend this time, but again, having you on the show today, seeing you at the garden with your family, that was really touching. And we can't thank you enough for your time. It's almost like 3 hours that we've been talking.
Yeah.
That never happened before. But this shows, so much, the love that we have for you guys. And we're having so much fun discussing. I think it was a great weekend for everybody, and a nice way to put the cherry on the pie, for our history, I think.
Yeah.
So before we close the curtain on this episode, we have a message and a little treat from an upcoming guest. Enjoy, and see you next time.
Take care, everyone.
Hey guys, it's Scott Leifer. I'm here at Madison Square Garden for the final Kiss show at the end of the road. Check out Kiss Goodbye, coming up right now. A song written by me and my great friend Jeff Pongo. It's an ode to Kiss, an ode to the fans, a song they should have recorded as the final Kiss song to go out with a bang. In fact, they almost did. And you'll hear about that in the next episode of Kiss Army Nation podcast. But right now, enjoy Kiss Goodbye.
stage is set. you ready for fireworks and confetti? For breathing fire and spitting blood, for the loudness that you love, to party till the morning comes. So get up and move your feet, get down and leave your seat. Let's live like there's no tomorrow. Party is such sweet song.